Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our NECC League of Legends finals here in Division 1 in the West. We've got a really exciting matchup tonight, of course, with Weber State Esports on one side, that'll be us, up against University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy at St. Louis, or Eutectics.
Yes, and for those of you who have been following Weber State Esports, you will recognize them very much so, as we always joke around that they're kind of Weber State's rivals, because when it gets to these late stage NECC games, it almost always seems to be Weber State and Eutectics.
I mean, that just goes to show how both of these teams are incredibly skilled and have, at this point, long withstanding almost rivalry, like you said. Again, I don't want to force either team to feel like it actually is a rivalry, but at least for us out here at the broadcast, this is a team that we really got to lock in and take down, especially with such a high stakes match like a finals in front of us.
Yeah, and importantly, it will be a best of 5, with Eutectics going to go ahead and start on the blue side here. So we're going to get into draft here and see what we can cook up with these bands coming in here shortly.
Yeah, so potentially blue side game 1 could be a big deal, but it's usually a much bigger deal in a best of 3, right? Taking away an early game in a series when you're essentially on match point for the rest of the time is tough. But in a best of 5, honestly, side selection is very less crucial and can cause maybe some more chaos, especially because this series is fearless.
Yes, interesting Zoe ban. We haven't seen Goku pick it up in a long time, but I do know specifically that he has pulled it out against them in the past. So the respect, yeah, that's a double Goku respect. He's used both those champions in the past against them.
I mean, I respect it, right? Like you said, we haven't seen either of these champions for a while, but Goku on AP Assassins, man, it's terrifying. He will find an angle and just assassinate, literally. So it's clear they don't want to deal with that, whereas Weber is taking out some power picks in support. Unfortunately, having to ban the Bard themselves, knowing that it's a strong enough pick, maybe Eutectics would be willing to take it first. You don't want to have that risk, and I totally understand that. Now, we've got one last ban here coming out. A couple different options they could go for. Maybe they just go for the 3 for 3, but instead, an Olaf. That's pretty cool.
I wonder if you has been playing it, because I don't remember Batal particularly enjoying an Olaf. Maybe it's just a champion they don't want to deal with. Weber doesn't play it, but they're simply saying, nope, not going to deal with it, as the Kaisa ban going to come through as well.
The Olaf ban makes sense to me a little bit because one of his favorite items, Experimental Hexplate, has been receiving multiple buffs over the last couple patches, so I think it's a good ban. And, of course, the premier AD carry being covered here and locked in by Eutectics. I have some gripes with Yunara, but I do respect that she's probably one of the best 2 to 3 AD carries in the entire game.
I mean, that does make sense why the Olaf ban would come through, because Yunara has a dash. But it doesn't matter if Olaf is just going to run at you and beat the ever-living heck out of you.
Can't be slowed, can't be CC'd. Yeah, there's nothing stopping that, Viking. In response, we will be picking up an Ezreal, a more safer approach to it. Followed up with a Nidalee here would be really, really cool. There it is. Yeah, so Ezreal and Nidalee going for a longer range poke approach.
Very interesting. I have not seen you really go for these AP junglers.
Yeah, this feels like a very interesting change in Weber's style. Now, for what it's worth, I guess we haven't seen them play a big series in a while, right? We had that long break for a bit. But with Xin Zhao being locked in here for Eutectics, it seems that I think that's probably the best jungler you could answer into an Ezreal Nidalee. Of course, if Nidalee gets on top of you, it's scary. But Xin Zhao can use the ultimate to invalidate all of that long-range poke.
Yes, he can, but it only lasts so long. So if you can keep running at him, it's very good. Now, the Orianna Xin Zhao delivery method, very good, very strong. Xin Zhao jumps in, Orianna ults, and then Xin Zhao ults. Very strong. But Nautilus as a support. Doesn't matter what Yunara does once that... Remind me, the dredge line is the Q. The R from Nautilus is...
Depth charge, I believe?
Yes.
So I think it's a great call out, especially from Deathblock. I mean, good call. Right? It's exactly a hard counter to Yunara. If you're patient with a hook, you can catch her dash, and if you hook to force the dash, depth charge comes out. It's really, really frustrating for Yunara to deal with. You'll see a Braum band from Weber. Makes a lot of sense again, right? Counter poke and good disengage into Nautilus, especially with some of the recent buffs Braum got. In this current patch, he got a little bit of bonus health and more damage if you repeatedly activate his passive, which are both really, really good buffs for a Braum.
And Braum's never been bad. He's been kind of mid-tier in the meta, very good. But those buffs did bring him up, especially into this poking team. You want to get rid of that. The rail going to get taken away as well. Very strong into Nautilus, makes him way less tanky than he wants to be. Very good takeaways. Now, what does the Eutectics decide to ban away final? it will be Corki. It will be the Corki.
Both of these bands are incredible understanding Eutectics here. They know that Goku likes to play these more longer-ranged AD poke champs in the mid lane, especially with a Nidalee. But Weaver says, no, we don't mind having too much AP. We'll end up going for the Syndra. I think that's a pretty good pick here, right? I mean, Syndra's now your setup, which she's also your finisher, right? This is a great champion either way. Oh, but right now Weaver doesn't have a lot of damage to kill a tank, so a Scion seems like a power pick here.
Though we have seen... Oh, interesting. It's not the Scion. They're going to go for their support here instead with Rakan. Really good engage. Another delivery method for the Orianna ball.
I think it's also really great against Ezreal. It's one of the few champions that can essentially point and click in Ezreal, right? Your ultimate, as long as you just stand on top of him, will charm him, and then it usually follows up into a W. So very good skirmish comp from... okay, hold on. Looks like... Folks, as you can kind of see on your screen now, maybe Weaver was actually the blue side the whole time, and that would make sense. Okay, so Weaver, we're just learning, was actually blue side, and that draft looks like their style. That makes a bit more sense now.
Okay, everything starts to make a little bit more sense here, as Mbessa going to get locked in against Batau's Scion. All right, this is making a lot more sense here. It makes sense why the Zoe and the LeBlanc band came in, the Olaf band coming in, and then the Nico Bard bands coming in makes way more sense.
Well, folks, it sounds like we're ready to jump right into our first game of this finals best of 5. I'm really excited about this. Yeah, our first pick is a Weaver Classic, right? So that all wraps up nicely. I am a little afraid of this Mbessa as a good counter pick. A good Mbessa can run through any composition. And I think, as a result, Eutectics has a phenomenal amount of dive to get onto this Yunara. Nautilus to deny it, as we mentioned in draft. Yunara's public execution to catch out. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, like we said, if Yunara doesn't have her dash and gets hit with that public execution, it's going to be very bad. But with the diving happening, it can also lead to some very good things where Weaver has a decent anti-dive composition with the Xin Zhao and the Orianna, not to mention Mystique's on this Rakan.
Yeah, what Weaver also has as well, right, is the Wombo combo. They've got ball delivery on 2 different champions, as you called out in draft, but also a good amount of follow-up. If the Orianna ultimate Command Shockwave comes out early on, Mystique's is phenomenal follow-up, right? That's going to group up a bunch of people into a Rakan Grand Entrance, and then a Charm, and then maybe a Scion Q on top of it all. I really like their chain CC. In fact, CC as a whole, I give heavily to Weaver State.
Well, I kind of want to see an interesting combination of maybe a Scion ult into the Orianna ult.
That would be really cool as well, yeah. Feels like Weaver's competition is kind of a death ball of delivery services for the Command Shockwave, and then Stendy's there to clean it all up afterwards.
So you'd say a death ball composition?
Yeah, that's a fun way to put it, actually. I like that a lot. We'll see that Nidalee starting on her Raptors. This makes a lot of sense as a pretty fast player. I've actually seen some Nidalees go from here to Wolves, weirdly enough. I doubt that what is happening here, but it's a type of player I've seen before. So far, early lane pressure seems to be going pretty heavily in the favor of Eutectics across the board, which makes sense. I feel like they have a lot more range at this stage of the game.
And that's just going to be a first blood over for the Syndra as Goku gets a little bit too confident. Syndra going to go ahead and hit level 2 first, and will be able to blast down Goku. Not what we want to see, but well played, Syndra.
I mean, hey, if there's a game to have go very poorly for you, it's got to be game 1, right? In this best of 5, get your nerves out, get your jitters out, and just try stuff. So obviously not too good for Weaver State early on, but it's not too concerning either. I think they'll be fine. But Tao actually doing really well on the top side so far. I know we're like 2 minutes in, but double Mbessa's CS and doing fairly well in terms of health as well. You can see can shield most of Mbessa's early damage, stack a grass proc, and that's exactly how Batao wants to play these trades. He outscaled the Mbessa slightly, so the faster he can do that with grass, the better.
Yeah, it is one of those things that Mbessa will lose early, but once you hit level 9, very much like the new champion, Zahim, you just kind of start face rolling your keys and start winning.
To be honest with you, I haven't thought about Mbessa top in a while other than a bit of playing that I've done of it personally, but I know Mbessa jungle was buffed a lot. Just her sustain and burst has really gone up. That passive omnivamp on damage dealt due to her ultimate means that she's not a champion pre-6. Post-6, post-11, as you talked about, she just keeps scaling. Looks like in the mid lane, Goku's continuing to struggle, though.
I mean, it's kind of to be expected. Syndra is definitely the more aggressive of the two champions. The Scatter of the Week will miss Goku. That is very good. Will not get the extra things off. But Nidalee going to come in here for a gank. Mystique's going to go ahead and take that spear. Had his shield up, so it was very good. Well executed dodging by Weber State there in the bot lane.
Well, jungler's farming up a storm here. Nidalee, the slightly faster farmer, but that's fine, as Xin Zhao is usually the better duelist. If so, Nidalee wants to make sure that they're playing safe, keeping their farm up. Is actually, looks like both mid laners extremely low. Can you punish it? No, with the Nidalee around and the healing coming out, it's a little bit too difficult too. Goku has no follow-up as well.
Yeah, you could see there, Syndra all of a sudden got a ton of HP. Unfortunately, the Scatter of the Week will come through right into the spear. That will be another death for Goku. Not what we wanted to see. And just unfortunate timing there where Goku wasn't respecting the Dark Sphere into the Scatter of the Week.
You can see in the gold graph here as a result that Nidalee is quite far ahead, and honestly, Goku's not that far behind despite being 2 deaths to the kill and assist. He's picked up a couple more minions at this point, which is why it's not too bad. As top laners fighting back and forth here, but Patao usually tends to win these extended trades, and Best has long cooldowns early game. He doesn't have his shield again, so I don't think he wants to go for it. Now that it's up, he can absolutely make this play. Just needs to flash to find the W damage and then maybe get the Q, but decides not to and to save the flash, especially because we've got a lane swap, folks.
Yeah, very smart. Just push the Ambessa out. You won in the trade because Ambessa flashed. Take it. Don't overextend. Don't go for flashy plays, pun intended.
It's a good point. I think now the Scion pick makes a lot more sense now, right? The reason why we haven't seen as many champions like Ambessa top or even like Jace top is because of the potential for lane swaps in our current meta. Scion is incredible into those, and it gets you now out of a really frustrating poke lane with Ezreal and Nautilus threatening all-ins, right? So I think it's a great play from Weber, using their composition exactly as it needs to be.
I will say, for those of you who haven't heard anything about next season, it's going to be very interesting. I think Riot's done a pretty good job with what they're cooking. I'm not going to spoil too much, but it should possibly get rid of this whole lane swap shenaniganery.
Yeah, since we have time to talk about it a little bit, I highly recommend, folks, that you look it up. I think we're in for a really exciting season next time. We won't see as many of these lane swaps here, which means meta should change a lot too, so don't get too comfortable with what you're seeing now. For now, of course, in this game, we still have to contend with a very scary mid-jungle duo right now, which can be dealt with Merc Treads. Sometimes a problem that Nidalee can have, especially Nidalee and Syndra, right, and Nautilus on top of it, is that an early Merc Treads can stop a lot of their damage, and if you survive the initial burst, that's all you need to do. You can turn around to fight.
Yeah, I still think to myself, who kills Patao? Yes, Ambessa's okay at it if he's alone, but Patao's not really going to be side laning. He's going to be looking for the team fights. How do you kill him?
Honestly, I don't think you do, which is not necessarily a terrible thing for Eutectics, all things considered. Oh, a beautiful flash play from you. We'll have to talk about that in just a moment because we have to highlight the great play in mid. Goku losing out on trades once again, but finally you saying, hey, I can hover around and make sure you don't get punished for it ultimately.
Yeah, Goku simply baiting the trap. Now here has to be careful. The Nidalee going to come in and going to stop his back, make it so that he has to spend a little bit of extra time. He's going to respect it, going to back up a lot, and not be in range of that Nidalee spear.
Yeah, so back to the Scion point, I think Eutectics' goal with the Ambessa is to have a champion that can do well in lane and just go past him guaranteed in a fight, right? The entire Eutectics composition feels like it is poke someone out and then finish off the backline with Nautilus knocking them up and Ambessa following out.
It'll be very interesting to see if this is going to go ahead and go the way they want to, as the knock-up into the Slurkle is insane.
Yeah, the slow Slurkle, if you will, doing so much work there. Ambessa's had this, not Ambessa's, oh, actually, a little bit too greedy from Mystique's. I had absolutely them going down. I think they wanted to try and find the Ambessa, maybe cancel a base, but the public execution is very powerful. Now Sandy's in a lot of trouble, doesn't have any mana, but with full health, shouldn't be under any threat.
Yeah, Goku here, though, in trouble again. Gonna get rooted up, gonna hit the Dark Spear on him. The Scatter of the Week not gonna come out, neither will the Unleash Power. But Goku has to play careful with this Nautilus still hovering around, being very frustrating, very annoying.
Good play from Goku there. He knows that ultimately the Nautilus CC is much less threatening than the Syndra's, but unfortunately overstaying a bit too much here. Some uncharacteristic mistakes it feels like from Goku in this early game, and it will cost him his life for a 3rd time so far. Nothing he can't come back from, but it's getting really scary.
Yeah, just not respecting that Nautilus showed up, was there, chunked you out. He's gonna stick around. He has nowhere to go top lane, nowhere to go bot lane. You're overextended, frustrating time to be there, and that's just gonna be grubs right over to Eutectics.
And Italy does these objectives very, very quickly, especially these AoE ones. But it looks like Weaver isn't just happy with giving it for free. They want to try and maybe walk in afterwards. They're really pushing this Ezreal down to low health. A heal out from the Nautilus means that they have to kind of back up. So it looks like Eutectics will have to be happy with just 2 of the grubs. It's still progress toward feats for them, but Weaver denies something.
And something is really good. The reason that it shows that Syndra got the Void Grubs is because they got 2 of them. It's one of the weird UI bugs, because you're not going to tell the team that got only 1 that they got all of them.
Yeah, for a second though, usually I believe it shows who killed the last one and the team that wins, like, who killed the second. I didn't realize Syndra had killed the second. I thought it was in Italy, so I got so confused for a moment. But yeah, 100% correct, Baka. That's exactly how it works. Looks like lanes have somewhat standardized, just on the wrong sides of the map, technically. Batao here in the bottom lane and the bottom lane of Weaver saying, hey, let's just tough it out on the top side. This seems to be better for us. Batao doing really well, though, in this lane due to some of the lane swaps. Yes, Mbessa has a kill, but 80 farm to her 59.
The fights here gonna start to go in the favor of Mbessa as they do get that cooldown. They get those abilities on lower and lower CDs, being able to spam them, be frustrating, deal damage. Batao gonna fight back, get some grasp procs. The nice thing though is that this early Bramble Vest means that Mbessa won't be healing quite as much.
Mbessa's power spike is the Eclipse, and in fact that stays true for every champion in the Rift, right? They're looking for these first items. Looks like, speaking of first items, it'll be maybe actually a dead Nautilus here. We'll have to talk about items in a moment. As you and Mystique's going for a great play. A barely clipped hook there on the side, it looked like. That was a bit of an odd interaction, but we all know how Nautilus hooks work, and this time, it's killed the Nautilus.
Yep, very good, very strong, very, very well played by Mystique's there to get ahead of him and use that blast cone that he was hoping to get and use.
Italy deep in Weber State's jungle right now on the red side. You can see they're waiting for this Raptor respawn and maybe trying to lay a trap for the enemy mid laner who's walking back the lane, but with the Spear thrown, I think Goku should be alright. They don't have the Shockwave on a cooldown actually, so they do have to be a little bit careful about this burst. They could catch an Italy Spear over the wall if they're not careful.
Yeah, and not speaking of Nidalee burst, you already had the Syndra burst come through and chunk Goku down to 75% HP. Not feeling great here in this mid lane. Yes, you will scale. You'll be an absolute monster in team fights, but you just kind of got to be a little bit careful in these lanes sometimes.
Ooh, actually managed to hit the Wind Become Lightning you. And here he's going to go in. He says, no, I think we can do this. Going to press the ultimate just to get a lot of damage. And I flash forward. An insane play from the Xin Zhao of Weber State. Well done.
Yep. What can we say except you knows how to play this champion. He is so strong at it, so good at it, and they're not done yet. The depth charge going to come through, going to stop some things, but going to force a flash out of the, not flash, that is an arcane shift out of the Ezreal, but really aggressive plays being made here by you.
Yeah, I'm going to shout out you 3-0-0 on Weber, so definitely their strongest member so far. And with, actually, we'll talk about that in a second. The buffered ultimates into each other, but Vital still winning that trade pretty heavily. He's going to get the almost fully charged Q into the Mbessa, and this Mbessa has to respect it. The Eclipse is nice, but once that shield wears off, she's much further behind.
Much further behind, can't heal up with her passive ultimate, and it's just going to be second dragon over to... Oh, will Weber give... No, I was going to say, are you giving this up? But you, once again, knows his ins out, knows that it was low enough that the Wind Become Lightning will be here. The Unleashed Power coming down onto you. He is fighting back, doing things. The Thundered Sky doing so much work, but will not quite be enough. Just so much healing, but numbers advantage for Eutectics. Now, Nidalee has to be careful here. Mystique's gonna go for the flash engage. Goku going down. The charm doing so much. I mean, what can we say except, Mystique's is the best support we know.
Classic Mystique's play there, saying, hey, I might be a full tank Rakan with flash and heal and no ignite, but I'm going for it. And it works, a double kill over, which means that they should be heavily accelerated as opposed to the Nautilus now, right? Nautilus is still quite far behind, just barely hit 6, and Mystique's, I believe, just barely hit 6. Mystique's already 7, picks up the second half of a redemption, so very, very strong. Weber was looking a little bit behind in some of these early plays, especially in mid lane, but they've weathered the storm, and both you and Mystique's linking up well together and making some crazy plays.
I just have to make mention of the fact that because of that brilliant play by Mystique's, Goku didn't die, and that is huge. He gets to back by, be safe, and here you mentioned it, Merc Treads. Look at those Merc Treads coming in for Goku. It's going to really help him out.
Vital forces a flash up here on the top side. You can see not just in that individual play how much they're winning, but also in the CS numbers, right? 128 to 87. We're not too far off a potential Flame Horizon or something later in this game, which maybe won't happen. It's very rare in games like this, but possible at this point with how well they're playing. Looks like they're going to have some time on the bot side here, Weber State, to really poke down this tower, get a couple extra plates before they fall off in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get that final plate, but damage is damage. Ezreal did arcane shift forward. Weber knows this, so they're going to try to get some damage down. The dredge line will miss, but it was so close. And then in the mid lane, it's now the Syndra that's playing too aggressive. Goku and you linking up. We know how much they like to do this mid lane jungle combo. But now Ezreal has to be careful. We'll have to arcane shift away. The Slurkle going to go ahead and hit onto Nautilus, causing them to have to back out a little bit. And boy, aggression everywhere. Things going good.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see you punishing the mid lane play. The mid lane play that NECC ended up getting 2 kills in, the previous one, both Nidalee and Syndra were forced to use their flash to make that play work, which means that there are flashes for a decent while longer still. And so I think you and the entirety of Weaver well aware of that and wanting to punish it as much as they can. But for now, there's a different macro play going on, and that one is, once again, another lane swap. Sendi's still struggling a little bit into the Ezreal and Nautilus. Obviously, they can fight now, but Sendi has a hard time walking up for farm in an even wave state. So it's much easier to just rotate constantly, make sure that Weaver's much happier with where they are. And a great Q from Batao with perfect timing. Needs to be a little bit careful with the Ambessa coming flying in behind. I don't think they see that yet, so they've got to be a little careful.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. Does Batao get this off? Unfortunately, it's soon going to be a 3-for-1. Batao doing everything he can. He gets one and is going to go for it. Did have to use his ultimate. And, okay, this is just unfair and bullying. 4 people for 1 undead man. That's so not nice.
Considering he traded 1 for 1, that's crazy good for Weaver, especially because now you can see them overloading this top side of the map. They want to wait for Ezreal to use his arcane shift, and there it is. You, I believe, held the E, maybe not, but it doesn't matter. Ultimately, they've got enough damage, and they'll give the kill to Sendi as well. This should be first tower to Weaver, but maybe not with 2 grubs on the bot side. Depends on how quickly Syndra can take this tower. For now, Goku's got to run. The spear does clip, which means Nidalee gets the increased jump range. Goku should be very shortly dead, but with good and fancy feet, a nice dodge, the public execution into the backline, a split fight as both people dive to get a kill, but Goku survives, has just enough movement speed, won't be enough to get away from Ambessa's second Q, but Yu isn't done with this fight yet, wants to commit to it, a heal from the Nautilus and the ultimate to keep their top laner alive, but a flash forward from Yu, they're not done yet, the Mystique's not grand entrance doesn't hit the knockup, and it looks like Ambessa will survive as a result, but an insane sequence of plays.
Crazy things going on. First tower did go over to Weber, I believe.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. You can see that, I believe, because it was close either way. Weber, still no one has feats that comes up to these objectives. You can see Weber taking the Herald right now. I believe they gave this, it would be feats over to Eutectics, so this is a very important objective. That's why you can see so many pings coming out on the map. Weber, only a few members here. I think they might have over-greeded for this. Gets burst down very easily. Needs to use Sundered Sky as best as they can, and Nidalee comes over the wall. Yeah, I understand the idea going for this, wanting to deny the feats, but with how few members they had on this side of the map, they will end up losing them. And that's feats of strength to Eutectics.
Yeah, just unfortunate timing there for Weaver. They did not have the damage to get it out with the death timers that were there. Not enough members of Weaver to secure that. But Tao does get a consolation tower in the bot lane for those efforts. Luckily, though, feats aren't everything they used to be. But Tao, though, in a bit of a pickle. Gonna run into 3 members. Gonna do what he can to be annoying. Gonna flash out and then ult. The flash coming in from Nautilus, but unfortunately, you're not flashing in front of the dead man. He's not gonna stop.
Doubly unfortunately on the top side, you can see Goku deceased and Shockwave on cooldown. Ezreal absolutely won that 1v1 up there, so sad to see that happen, especially with a Drake up. That being said, Batao did use Flash and R, but still has teleport to come back into this fight, and Weaver is not wanting to give this Hextech Drake. Hextech Soul is incredibly powerful still, even with all the time that it's been good. I think we need to be a bit careful though with Goku still dead and no teleport. It's really hard for them to join the fight. It might be a little bit of an overforce to them, just like they had on the Herald earlier, and you will go down, unfortunately. Weaver very disconnected right now.
Yeah, just not understanding that the 5-man for Eutectics would be there before their 5-man, especially with Goku heading towards the top lane. Of course, at this point, it's because the play is over. They're not going to be able to make much of it. This dragon will go over to Eutectics. 2 dragons to Weaver's 1. Unfortunate there, not exactly what we want, but things still happening. Sendi does live, which is big. Did have to use his flash and barrier, but that won't save him next time, as Ambessa can just follow up flash next time.
You can see Batao and the rest of Weaver pushing aggressively here in the mid lane. They want to make sure they can get this mid tower, because that would be all of the outer tier 1s, and that unlocks the map so easily for warding with supports or invades on jungle. Eutectics knows this and really doesn't want to give it up, so it might turn into a little bit of an ARAM here. Not literally everybody, just half of everybody, so a HayRAM maybe. Half all mid.
Something like that, as Eutectics will go ahead and win this mid lane mashup because of their increased poke. Sendy going to take an Arcane Barrage to the face there. Not what he wants, does not feel good.
Yeah, I want to highlight this Mbessa really quickly. He was put fairly behind in the other game, right? They're struggling quite a bit. But right now, 3-0-1, keeping up decently on farm. And I want to say what Mbessa wanted to do in this draft that we highlighted is exactly happening. The public executions into the backline, ignoring the impossible to kill tanks and the annoying CC, and just assassinating either Goku or Cindy. It's worked nearly every fight.
The nice thing, though, is that Goku still gets utility off even if things don't go his way. Syndra will go ahead and have to flash, but that is into a Yu, who still has the increased range from the Wind Become Lightning for the dash. The Redemption coming in to go ahead and deal damage and heal. Weaver not done yet. Unfortunately, Nidalee, you stepped a little too far forward. The Blast Cone will be there, but Sendy is also here. They're going to keep going. The Slurkle going to go ahead and hit, and Weaver finding a way back will make it a 1-for-0.
For the first time in the last 8 or so minutes, it feels like every member of Weaver was connected together and knew that they could join a fight. Unfortunately, due to the after-fight positioning and some of the help they have, they're going to have to give up this mid-wave pressure and will lose their tier 1 for it. Oh, as the Herald... Okay, didn't they drive it 2 inches and get out? Oh, no, it just walked, I thought. Oh, Arcane shift forward, but unfortunately with Batao's health, it doesn't matter that he catches him. Can't do much else.
Yeah, there's just not enough people from Weaver around. Though, not the worst case scenario for Weaver. Using Rift Herald and only getting 1 charge on a mid lane tower that was already decently hit doesn't feel the best. It's something, it opens up the map, but could have been better.
Yeah, it just helps Eutectics get that little bit more gold that I think they needed for Nidalee to finish her second item. This Shadow Flame. Shojin completed on Mbessa's second item. It looks like mostly Eutectics want to get these second items finished before the Drake spawns in 2 minutes. Weaver has a couple 2-item power spikes coming in, but notably Goku doesn't look that close to theirs despite the fact that they really could use it. They're quite a bit behind still. We've been maybe going a little bit of an overforce here in the jungle. The MS is still very scary and fighting her would be tough, but when they dodge Nautilus Hook and Yu steals away the blue buff, I think that's a good enough prize for them, and they should just accept it and walk out. But they're not done yet. Can they keep pushing? The Sendy does a lot of damage, has an insane amount of movement speed and attack speed to go in, and with a flash forward from Mystique's getting that charm, they should be able to do a lot here. A great shockwave clips on just the mid laner to force her out of the fight, so she can't do much else. And now Yu using the Sundered Sky to heal so much along with the Redemption. Goku gets the kill onto their opposing mid laner and dies for it, but a triple kill for Sendy is absolutely incredible. Can they finish off this last kill? Sendy, no need to worry about taking tower here as his team is absolutely doing so for him, and an ace for Weaver State between tier 1 and 2.
I mean, it's now just tier 2, but I totally understand what you're going for, and that looked so dicey until the Nautilus missed and Sendy was unleashed. With no threat of a hook, he just walked into the Nautilus unafraid, bashed him down with his Q, and then Mystique's with the quickening and the grand entrance. Not grand entrance, the, is that grand entrance? I thought, for some reason I thought that was Galio's ultimate.
Oh, it might. You know what? It actually might be. I might have gotten that wrong. Well, folks, if you know at home, leave it in the comments, of course. That might be it. It's, we're kind of something similar for his W.
You're correct, because it's heroic entrance for Galio. Oh, there we go.
That's right. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Okay, but Tao maybe stayed a little bit too far here in the mid lane. They don't have a lot of magic resist, so Nidalee does hurt a lot. Are they willing to flash the wall? Yes, they are. They don't have their ultimate yet, so Nidalee can't chase too far. Needs to respect a bit. There's a huge shield and the knockup. I think Goku's willing to absolutely use everything they can to finish off this Nidalee. A bit too far, my friend. I'm afraid you are going to be punished for it.
And unfortunately for you, my good friend Nidalee, that means no Dark Harvest stacks. Not Dark Harvest, no Dark Seal stacks for you.
And also no time to be up on this Drake, right? Your jungler's dead for 30 seconds and Drake is alive in 15. Maybe another member of Eutectics being cut out here. Once again, you've shown a lot of great patience with how they've been playing this Xin Zhao. I think they've been hugely instrumental in Weaver's playmaking along with Mystique. So with 2 members dead of Eutectics and a Cloud Soul coming up in 2, that's going... Oh, no, sorry. Oh, no, okay. Top left confused me. It's obviously a Hextech Soul. My bad, everybody.
I was about to say, you mentioned earlier about the great things about the Hex Tag. I know I'm visually impaired, but I didn't think you were as visually impaired as I am.
I'm afraid that you must know the truth, my friend. I am occasionally visually impaired. The good news is, sometimes you just gotta recognize those mistakes, fix them, and move on, which is exactly what Eutectics needs to do in this game right now. They had a really clean early game after a couple back and forth plays, and they were in a great mid state, and then a couple fights that don't go too well, small mistakes, trying to fight in these long extended team fights against a team that much prefers to be doing that is tough, right? They need to find these poke angles, have better position, and really get vision control, it feels.
Yeah, I will say, Weber State early, they had issues where they weren't fighting as a team. It was disjuncted. And then that fight around blue buff, Weber decided, you know what? Enough of this. I'm better than this. And it just clicked, and they have just been starting to slowly run away with the game, getting a 3K gold lead.
Yeah, I want to highlight something as well. I keep saying that, but the point is, Weber State, I like their itemization in this game. Something really important to keep an eye out on, and something you should do at home when you play League as well, is what items you need to build not that are good for your champion, that are good against the enemy champions, right? We've talked about many times that Eutectics is mostly a poke composition. So look at the amount of sustain on Weber, or the defensiveness. You can see Cindy not going for more crit now, picking up a BF Sword and a Vamp Scepter. That could go into a full Bloodthirster, but actually we'll have to talk about that in a second. You need to survive the burst, and unfortunately can't survive it yet. Working towards some more shielding and healing, as they will finish the Spirit Visage now, but they didn't have it for that death.
Yeah, I mean, it was also 4 people in there. No matter what you say with a Zin's out, you're not going to survive 4 people diving onto you like that. Just so much damage so quickly. Unfortunate positioning that you was in, and will lead to his death. One thing I do want to make mention of is that actually, Mystique's gonna go ahead and hit another beautiful charm. Gonna go ahead and get a lot down. The passive Scion explosion gonna go ahead and get the Nidalee down. That's jungler traded for jungler eventually in these fights, as Ezreal did have to arcane shift away. It's just one of those super defensive things that you can do. But because the arcane shifted early, the public execution gonna be missed. The the depth charge gonna be used as a dissuading factor to keep this Ezreal alive.
As an Nemessa player, I recognize that sign all too well. It's so painful. Actually, Cindy being caught out here might need to be careful for their own life. A huge shield from Mystiques using the Locket of the Iron Solari to keep their AD carry alive. But when that public execution missed and you just kind of do like a sad dash forward due to the passive, I'm sorry, I need to clearly stop talking about the silly interaction that just happened, because Cindy is surviving with a hair's breadth.
You could say that was a Teemo hair away.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know, Teemo hair might be generous. That felt like it grazed them. I feel like, do you think Ezreal Ultimate causes like wind to go by as you like? I feel like Cindy's entire face was like air dryer in front of you, right? That was so close.
It was extreme. You know what? I was gonna say it was extremely close, but I respect Batau. Third item, Titanic Hydra saying, "I'm the carry now. I am going to deal damage. You saw what I did to that Nidalee. I'm going to do it even quicker now."
Well, the funniest part about this is that it's genuinely correct ever since the buffs sometime earlier this year, I want to say October, November, where they gave Sion insane amounts of AD scaling. You can see he wants to go in for these solo plays now. His ultimate is not a setup tool for his team. He wants to use that Titanic Hydra exactly as you said, and Messenger Flash is only get slapped by a bird feather.
You know what? We love you, Tranquilo, but that was totally a KS. A kill secured.
Well done, Mystiques. He almost got away, but you got it. All right, well, especially with that kill and the flash down from Messenger, it looks like Weber making the play to say, hey, Baron would be great here. Can they actually do it? They want to try and make a fight instead, catch people out, and a great play from Mystique, being patient, saving the charm and the quickness for the moment Ezreal Arcane shifts on top of them, and this should be converted into a quick and easy Baron for Weber State. 3 members dead, only 2 left alive. With 2 very strong ones, but I don't think that'll do anything.
Yeah, Goku is just going to be able to run interference. It's okay if he dies at this point. You know, he's just going to be annoying, be frustrating. But they don't even really need that. They have 3 people basically running interference, while Sendy and Batau just murk this Baron. Syndra will come back alive and will come back up. Going to be running interference. But a very good redemption here. Going to just do so much to keep them alive. And that is a Baron for Weber State as we go into the Dragon, though, spawning in 20. We were going to back really quick with the Empowered Baron recall. Going to buy really quickly and run out as quick as possible. They want to get as quickly to this soul point as possible. But Batau in the top lane doing Scion things.
Yeah, this is only third Drake, as you said, soul point, not soul itself for either team. So Weaver would be totally fine with giving this. That being said, they're walking up a bit too far. There's an insane amount of a flank angle going on here with a great Mbessa flank. Can they do a lot? But no, it looks like Weaver respecting it just enough. But the shockwave going wide, they can't do much else. That being said, they don't need to do much else, right? As you can see highlighted here, Batao being a tower demolisher, he's got his forklift certification. He is clearly cleared to demolish that building.
Yeah, and at this point, Weaver is just simply running damage control. They're gonna go ahead and be annoying. The depth charge going off. Sendy, though, gonna get hit, gonna go down. Mystique's gonna go ahead and dissuade as much as possible. But Tao is still taking down towers, taking an inhibitor. Gonna go ahead and get out now that the dragon is dead. Gonna be annoying. Gonna actually come and join. Ezreal, you're not in a good spot. You've arcane shifted. That is the angry dead man here now, ready to kill you, and gonna go ahead and have to force out the flash. Now Nidalee in a bad position. Weaver at the tail end of that will lose too, but will take an inhibitor, a tower top lane, and Ezreal's flash.
And the kill. So pretty good trade, all things considered. And actually, Mbessa going for an aggressive kill, but Mystique's is so slippery, has the redemption, just needs to get a little bit more health before the Cinder Burst lands. They will go down. That's actually a shutdown, so probably not worthwhile, especially because I believe he's unfortunately sold his jungler a little bit. That being said, Yu is very sustained right now, with the ultimate blocking a lot of the damage and the Spirit Visage and the Sundered Sky doing an insane amount of healing. Can they get any more? The auto attacks to heal. It's just not quite enough. However, for once again in this game, Batao has said, hey guys, we got Baron. I intend to get full use out of this. I will not fight unless I need to.
It still just works out so well. The fact that Weaver got a kill in return there, it shouldn't have happened. Syndra should not have died, but you being you is doing great things. Now, Ezreal, that is a dangerous place to be in.
Yeah, you can see the gold graph right now while we have a second. Looks like there should be some peace. Batao is most of Weaver's gold lead. 4,000 gold up of Mbessa of a 6,000 gold lead total. So that's pretty scary, especially because they finished an Overlord's Bloodmail.
That's also not counting the, from Scion passive, about the 2,000 gold worth of free help that Scion gets from his W passive.
Yeah, Soul Furnace is very scary. Oh, I like this play from Batao, waiting to get you the red buff, saying, hey, red buff sustained a little bit of damage is really nice. So the moment you spawns, we'll finish that red buff to give to the entire team. Dude, Batao has been playing this game incredibly. Really just a masterclass on Scion, Macro, and Soul Furnace. Like you mentioned, that passive, the shield to defend, but also the burst damage to kill. 3 incredible parts of one ability.
I will say, once Batao finishes off this crab, that is, in fact, a flame horizon for Batao.
They did it! Officially 100 CS over. I talked about the potential of it happening this game, but I really didn't think it would, and there, they've made it. Now, for what it's worth, it's easier to have that happen when you're in the side lane for 5 minutes doing a Drake fight, so, like, sure, right? Overall, I just think Weaver's in a phenomenal position here. They've gotten to the point in the game where they can group up easily, make sure that their engages here, and Mystique's has had some phenomenal engages. Their follow-up is ready to pull the trigger, and you let Batao push in the side lane. Again, you're talking about who kills him. We recognize that, but unfortunately, Eutectics recognizes they need to kill the other members of Weaver. Batao coming in on the backside here and just drifts perfectly in, forcing the damage dealers of Eutectics to run away. That's leaving the tanks out to die. Forty goes in, trying to do as much as they can on Lily, but is not enough. Stendy going for the aggressive play, healing so much with a Bloodthirster. A triple kill, maybe soon to be a quadra if this Nidalee cannot be careful. You can see the healing on Stendy. They win any 1v1 now. Flash away will not be enough as the slow has already come through, and it should be a quick kill, followed by a quick Nexus explosion in game 1 for Weaver.
Yes, very well played. It was a little bit scary in the early game there, but Weaver decided to pull it together, start getting together, and they pull out the victory. I will say one thing. That quadra kill was stolen by Mystique's there. You could have given it to Sendy, but well played. Well played, Weaver, and we will see you for game 2.
And welcome back, everybody, to Game 2 of our NECC Division 1 West Finals game, where Weber State is up against UHSP, or Eutectics. We're coming off of a pretty exciting Game 1 that Weber clutched out after a rough-ish mid-game, rather. So I'm excited to see how this turns out.
Yeah, it was crazy. The early game was really rough, and then Weber started pulling it back. There were some back-and-forth fights towards the mid to late game, and then Weber simply said, Scion.
You'll see here, and that's a pretty apt description. You'll see here, Weber ended up on the red side because, as the losing team, Eutectics picked blue. So, very strong side selection, obviously. It's better, usually, in early on drafts, especially in Fearless. And the later the games go, you'll start to see teams probably pick red side more just because counterpick becomes important. All that's for later, though.
Yep, as Bard, once again, no mistakes. You cannot play the Bard.
07, Bard. We will not see you today. If we did, it would be a miracle. They would just have to forget. They would have to be struck with mental blindness to Bard, and maybe we'd see it. But it's not happening.
You'd have to hit them with the forget me stick.
Yeah, and I feel like that's not probably good sportsmanship, so we just won't see Bard. But it looks like some other things we won't be seeing today are these first four bans. The one downside of Fearless, the only downside of Fearless, are these forced bans as a result of the fact that as the champion pools get less and less reliable and more champions are removed, the champions you banned first game are like even better bans. You're just never going to see them.
That is one of the things that's interesting. I believe for our Fearless, the way it works, if it does go to a Game 4 and a Game 5, is that Game 4, we only ban 6, and then Game 5, there are no bans, I believe.
I guess that's a good point. If we go that far, we could see a bar. That'd be pretty exciting. So we'll see. We're pretty sure that's how that works. We'll get back to you on that, of course, folks, and you'll see if we get to there. For now, though, of course, biased toward Weber. I'd like to see him take it pretty quickly. This would be an interesting... Okay, it's locked in. Now, I will say, some of my friends bully me a little bit for it. I was not a believer in Misfortune for a while, but I have been convinced recently.
It was very fun to hear how my good friend Odd Koal was talking during Worlds when Gumayushi pulled out the Misfortune. It was just like, I don't think it's great. And then all of a sudden there was that game-winning ultimate around Dragon, and we all turned to him and was just like, see?
Yes, I was a doubter, and I was put in my place as Lucian and Rise picked immediately here, pretty quickly at least. I think that makes powerful sense. I like Lucian a lot into Misfortune. You have the ability to get out of a bullet time, and you have really, really long-range poke in the mid lane once you have your ultimate. Oh, but the denial of the Nami here would be huge. It works pretty well with Misfortune, and I would like to see this. This would be clever from Eutectics.
I will say that we could still see a Lucian Milio, but what I really want to see instead is the tried and true Lucian Braum.
That would be incredible. I forgot Braum got majorly... Like we mentioned Game 1 when it got banned, Braum got heavily buffed this patch. And Braum versus Misfortune Nami, that's a nice wave bullet time. Too bad it got met with a big icy shield. I obviously was speculating. But never mind, we're not. You're a genius, Deathbaka.
I mean, I don't like to claim things, but I call them as I see them.
You can claim that one. That was really well read. I hadn't thought about that.
The moment I saw Misfortune and saw that Braum was not banned, I'm like, Braum's
in a great state. Happy to see it. He likes to skirmish a bit more early as, whoa, way ban. Okay, that's usually more of a Weber State pick, but it's a Weber State Sendy pick, and they'll be piloting the Lucian, so makes sense. It's a good ban. It's also a good long-range poke. It's pretty good into Rise. Just all-around nice ban. Along with a Jarvan ban. I like that as well. It's a great thing to force him in immobile Misfortune to die to a Braum.
Also, it's really good if you can get on the Wukong, you can ult him and keep him from going into the rest of the team with his Cyclone.
I just realized, I was like, man, the Rise pick and some of these bans feel a little odd, but are we honest now? The classic counter matchup into Rise is either Ori or Cassio, and Hui's pretty good. Now what do you do as Eutectics, right? See, there's 4 mid lane bans, and Orianna's gone. A good answer to Rise is few and hard to come by at this point.
The best part is that Weber simply picks their jungler here and then leaves Batao the counter pick.
I've seen them give you a counter pick a couple times, but I think that would be better, especially with the 2 jungle bans so far. Wait a minute, it's up! Especially with Braum, that procs Braum passive immediately.
Well, and I was saying that we already know what the jungler is, so you already get the counter pick there. It is so good, so strong. And oh boy, no stops being pulled here from Weber. The Trundle down too, so yeah. The Taliyah is an okay one. Rise is immobile. Taliyah does well, especially the Taliyah Wukong. Really good setup. Things are great. But the setup between Rise, Bel'Veth, Braum, That's scary.
We've got a bit of a darker shades of blue and purple going on in their team composition. Lucian's not quite blue or purple, but that's fine, right? It's the darker themes here. As, oh no, we had mentioned the possibility of this between games here at the caster desk ourselves. Cassante, very, very strong champion, and it will be locked in here. Now, they need a strong counter pick for Cassante, and there's not many of those.
All I'm going to say is I am still under the opinion that Cassante needs to just be deleted. I hate the champion. It feels so frustrating to play against because, like, oh, he's just the tank that CCs you the entire time and will just kill you. And
this is not a real hover. I don't
that can't be real. That has to be them being funny. Garen does do well into Cassante because Garen can buffer the CC with his W, making it last a little bit less long, but the silence is the important part. Also, Cassante, when he goes all out, cuts his HP. Garen's like, thank you, ult.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it, right? It's Cassante wants to take as little damage as possible, and he self does half damage, so we'll have to see how it plays out because the game appears to be ready to go, folks. We're jumping right in. All right, we can take a look at some summoner spells, some runes. Phase Rush from Batao is needed against the Cassante. I've seen some Garens go Conqueror and realize they lose that matchup into Cassante, so happy to see Phase Rush. Overall, fairly standard stuff.
Yeah, you don't want the prolonged fight into Cassante as the Garen. You want the quick I'm going to silence you, Beyblade on you, then speed out.
Yeah. Garen wants to get half of your health over time and then do the last half of his ultimate. So having a Cassante that does the first half for you is pretty nice.
Yeah, and Garen will win the sustain. He just simply walks back, says, I'm Garen, I don't have to do anything, and I got a Warmog's passive.
The other good news is I feel like Weaver also has a secret second champion that kills Cassante, and that second champion is Bo5. That being said, Bo5 could maybe need to be careful here. It looks like Eutectics believed that maybe you was going for an early invade with 5 people sitting in that bush. They'll call it off now and say, hey, we can't stay here for forever. But they wanted to maybe either catch out the person who wards, right? Often a common ward position is right there. Either way, no one's getting punished by it. And instead, you was just sitting in the mid lane.
Yeah, haven't you heard? It's obviously Bel'Veth mid lane. It got super buffed. Bel'Veth mid lane with Smite. It's great.
Ooh, hold on. Maybe they're sitting in mid lane and they might actually be punished like I was talking about. Okay, no, it looks like it won't end up happening. But they want this ward. They want to go for the wall and go for the very late invade. I don't hate this play. This is quite clever from Weaver. They decided to play it slow, but Wukong can just rotate immediately over, and this is not going to work. Eutectics was prepared for this. They did their homework, and it's going to work out. First blood immediately over to the Wukong, but you will pick up a kill in response. No, actually, Sendy will be the one to pick it up. A great flash over the wall in a clever direction, but they still will go down. And that's a play that clearly shows Eutectics has done their homework. They know that Weaver likes to play Bel'Veth, and they were prepared for the strategy.
They were. Importantly, it's not the end of the world for Sendy. He does get a kill out of that. Yes, he's down his flash and his barrier, but a kill is a kill. It is good. And it's a teleport flash down for Talia, while Goku has everything.
Yeah, both top laners really low here right now. We'll have to see if Batao wants to go for a crazy play. He gets 2 very soon, and there it is. You could maybe go for a flash Q before. No, it looked like the amount of healing that Cassante had using their potion was a bit too much to deal with, so they'll have to respect it, Batao. There is that kill in the mid lane. Yeah, the biggest winner for that long-term play, I would argue, would have been Goku, and going to turn it into a much bigger long-term play. Oh, without the W second, actually, to go for those trades. I like the idea.
Very smart, very strong. And Goku now does have to be careful. There is an angry monkey. I believe Goku, unfortunately, he will see this, will not go down, as the monkey just simply going to be here to absorb some EXP, do what he can. But that little bit of a divergence for Wukong means that Yu has finished his top side and is going to start looking for this crab.
Ooh, I don't think they want the crab just yet. They might have their sights set on something else. Maybe a kill in the jungle, or for now, a kill on the top side. A silence there means that it's a very easy knock-up into a simple kill for the Bel'Veth. You might have tried the plan and put that behind earlier, but Yu finds a way.
Yeah, you know, the scary void monster finds a way. You know, it's very interesting how that happens, as he's going to keep going, going to go in, going to dash around, be very annoying. Will not quite get the kill, and I was going to say get the gromp, but not the kill, but still gets the kill because Bel'Veth's W is silly.
Okay, once again, we see the play we saw last game, lane swaps. Thank you, Riot, for pretty much killing these next season, because I did not expect one this early. You'd think Misfortune would want to be doing better into the lane, but this might be a rare get the top laner out of a bad matchup situation, right? Misfortune was usually the benefactor of that early play. She got a kill and an assist, and then Sendy was late to lane. But it looks like, actually, as a result of just how things have turned out, Sendy and Mystique's doing a lot better.
The only thing about it is that this now unlocks Mystiques to go mid to get a kill onto Talia. Good night. I feel for our other caster here who is a Talia fan. He hates to see her get killed like this, but it has to be done.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Cat Man. It's probably hard to watch if you're watching. Okay, so the bigger deal right now is not just the kills. 30 farm to 16 in mid lane is rough, man. This rise is so far accelerated into this game state. You can see the gold difference, 600, 700 at 4 minutes. That's a huge deal, but also the experience lead, right? 4 to 3 in mid lane as well. Matau's getting smacked around a bit, but both junglers are being on around the side of the map. Oh, my heart went up and down really fast because I thought for sure he'd lose it. But you sneaking around, trying to make sure that they want to stay around and fight for a bit, it's a little bit scary. I think Wukong has more burst, but the longer a fight goes on, the better you is favored.
Yeah, it is a crazy amount of fighting that's going on as Batao using that phase rush to his advantage, like we said. And I was going to make one thing mention before the kill in mid lane happened is I personally don't think that the lane swap actually benefits the Cassante either. Because Braum Lucian, okay, you're the one that wants to be CCing people as the Cassante. Well, you can't move if Braum hits you and then Lucian's just hippity-hoppiting all over your property.
Yeah, it's clear that Weaver, even with that said, does prefer the matchups. They match immediately. They didn't do this mismatch a little bit that we saw last game. They respected it. They said, hey, we're going to follow up with it. Will they go for another lane swap? Let's watch what this Cassante goes to as we've got a second or two of peace on the Rift. The Wukong picking up another Scuttle Crab. Porty doing fairly well, but still quite far behind the Bel'Veth. You can see it. They're trying to figure it out. They're talking about it. Hey, where am I going? Am I going top and going bot? And they will finally say, okay, no, go top. We're resetting. Let's figure it out. Weaver hasn't quite sniffed this out yet, but you can see actually maybe they have. Lucian and Braum also not quite going top yet.
Yeah, a teleport coming in from Misfortune to go bot lane. And Weaver beautifully, like you mentioned, sniffing it out. The Tau gets a plate. He's going to back, going to run top. And that's all you're not even going to back, just going to teleport because Misfortune did understand that he was in the bush. So Batao saying, I don't really have enough gold to want to back. I'm 6 though, so I can do hee funny Garen moment maybe.
Yeah, I like to see Weaver, good understanding of how this game's playing out. They know Eutectics is rapidly swapping. So really, with these fast responses, the only thing they're losing is a minion or two, maybe like a tiny amount of experience. But overall, they're doing very well. Goku being poked out here in the mid side, but with the amount of mana they have, they can just shove spells into the wave, and Talia is still on the back foot.
Yeah, he's really accelerated here. Gonna get a very early Rod of Ages, I assume. And you just counter farming, being a nuisance, getting ahead. Gonna get to the point where Bel'Veth simply goes yata-ta-ta-ta.
Yeah, which is scary, right? Not only just because you is a very good Bel'Veth, but because a lot of players have a hard time dealing. Ooh, actually, a play here in the mid side, we'll talk about that in a second, as Goku is able to pick it up, forcing everything out from the Talia just by having used presence there, and Goku technically picks up a solo kill, I believe.
At the end of the day, it was a solo, but again, this is the simple, annoying things of Cassante, as he will go ahead and take Batao over the wall, but a cheeky little plant to heal him up. Not to mention his Garen passive kicking in means he can simply go right back to the top lane. Yes, that is his flash down, but in the bot lane, that is a kill onto the Misfortune. Unfortunately, Sendy does not have enough mana to finish off these kills, but Batao still in a very good position. Will be okay, we'll be happy with how things are going.
Misfortune, definitely having some misfortune here on the bot side. I think overall, Weaver's draft is just an insane masterclass in matchups and knowledge, right? What I was going to comment on about Bel'Veth before some crazy fights across the board was that champions like Bel'Veth are so rare that it's really hard to understand what to do against them. Yes, you can do what Eutectics did, do your homework, pay attention to what Weaver likes to do when they play it. But even so, when you get into a late game, eventually the variants start happening, right? No game is exactly the same. You have to understand how to play against it in the long term, and it can be hard to do. You can end up in situations like this, right? Where despite the fact that they had a decent level 1 setup, Bel'Veth is double Wukong's farm due to the constant invading and stealing things, and is 2-0-1.
Yeah. Batao gonna go ahead and push out this wave. The teleport coming down with this pink ward on Grubs means that you will be able to pick this up happily. And this is the first minion that allows Bel'Veth to gain her true monstrous form, which is a huge power spike. We'll simply take 2 and then go back, knowing that they're going to fight for this. Batao going to go ahead and go in, be annoying as possible. The Misfortune coming in will get so much block. You going to have to back out, going to get interrupted by the Cyclone, but it will be traded back. Mystiques, though, going to have to try to run. And unfortunately, Goku will go down as well, as You know, that is a lot for Weber. Weber did get some good things, but that is a lot of kills back and a lot of shutdowns. But Sende left alone in the bot lane means he gets a lot of gold on tower.
Yeah, I think that's the real benefit that Weber gets out of it ultimately. They got 2 grubs, yes, but overall the fight is horribly lost for them. They just can't quite get enough because of the insane AoE continuous CC that Eutectics has this game. However, it is that Sende play on the bot side that ends up being favorable for them, right? They got a lot of ultimates, several flashes, so Weber can keep Sende in the bot side, get a lot of gold onto them, and then rotate over to the bottom side where Sende has full control and maybe take a Drake here. Or maybe invade for a red buff.
Invade for a red buff, kind of wait around, possibly go dive the Misfortune.
I mean, they're definitely pinging a couple things. Wukong still has to go back up to the top to get that last grub. Weber knows this, right? The benefit of getting 2 and leaving 1 is you know exactly where Wukong is the second it's taken. There it is taken, and so that means Weber knows they've got plenty of time, and I think you called it dead on. Looks like this Misfortune is not long for this world if she disrespects things.
You gonna actually find this Nami. Nami in a little bit of a pickle here. Will go ahead and have to flash out, and that is goodbye, Nami. No sushi for the Bel'Veth, but they will take the flash.
Yeah, meanwhile on the top side we saw for a second, me and the mid lane, Weber winning out in trades in lanes, constantly threatening their opponents saying, hey, you're disrespecting a bit too much, I have the damage to execute you. And NECC, of course, continuing to be an absolute nuisance. Wukong is here, but unfortunately Bel'Veth is a bit too fast for him to catch.
Bit too fast, and he doesn't have enough support coming in from Misfortune as Mystiques and you easily kill the Wukong if they jump in.
Yeah, right now, it looks like as a result, Weber just taking full advantage over the lane states, really punishing their opponents, and using that pressure to go take a Drake, and an Infernal Drake too. It's only 1 Drake, yes, but every point of additional damage matters, especially when you're a Bel'Veth applying so many hits on second. Every single time you see them pick up that Void Coral, their attack speed will go up far above the potential cap that stopped other champions, so you've got a technically an infinite scaler here. Let's see how far they can make it this game.
It is always so fun to watch Bel'Veth happen, as not only does that dragon go to Weber, that also once again unlocks Bel'Veth's true form for the next 3 minutes, I believe. No, minute and 180 seconds. So that is 3 minutes.
Here on the top side, it looks like Batal will go down, unfortunately. The downside of Cassante is that, as we mentioned, Garen is good, but it's not a counter matchup. Cassante doesn't really have any of those. It's something that's somewhat frustrating about him. A lot of modern top laners, whether or not people consider them broken or not, they really don't have bad matchups. They're just so useful. They have so much utility. It's impossible to deal with them, and Cassante will continue to scale into this late game.
It is frustrating and annoying, but I think Weber still does have the team comp to deal with it. You know, if Cassante goes in, doesn't quite get who he wants, as a play going here in the bot lane, as just a delivery service here, leaving, unfortunately, Misfortune out to dry, as they're going to try to get Sende, but the unbreakable shield from Braum will mean that Misfortune cannot do any damage. Goodbye, Misfortune. I'm sorry. Misfortune even went teleport because they knew it was going to be a rough lane.
This is a really big redemption for Goku as opposed to the last game, right? Goku struggling quite a bit, got solo killed multiple times, and now is the gold leader for Weber, if I had to guess. Triple teleport up the top side. Talia's coming in to try and help with it, but, well, not triple teleport, just triple members here. You going a little bit too deep. I know they have the insane damage reduction, but I think, no, they don't actually take another tower shot. They can get a little bit of healing from the Void, from Coral. Can they stay alive? They will, and you now use in a lot of danger. Braum with the exhaust means that NECC is doing quite a bit here. Unfortunately, Misfortune in a great position with the teleport, but not to get more. But with the flash, we'll get what they need, and NECC is not long for this world. I'm sorry, my friend. The good news is your AD carry is getting a lot in this long play.
Not only your AD carry, but your mid laner towers are going to fall here with the amount of damage that they're just able to do, picking up farm. Goku already has 2 stacks on his Rod of Ages. Sende has his completed Essence Reaver and almost has a finished call.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. I think they should be able to finish it here. Maybe not. No, okay, looks like with the wave states, Sende will unfortunately have to wait 1 more minion. How heartbreaking. They're trying to recall now, but many different members of Eutectics are on the way to deny it. Sende has their flash, will need to flash. Oh no, just a beautiful sidestep. They don't need to escape the seismic shove. Talia still wants to do a lot and has good movement speed around the side of walls, just not quite enough. Well done to Sende. Seems like Sende doing a little bit of what Patau did last game, right? Saying, hey, I'm not roaming for fights. I'm not going to try and put myself at a disadvantage. I can get a lot more done if I play for myself. And I respect it. It's a very good play and it seems to be working.
This rise just so accelerated. Yeah, the Wukong gonna come in here, gonna do what he can, but the phase rush coming in, the dodge doing so much on that bubble. You can only be stunned once on the unraveled earth, and you has just so much damage. Gonna force out the flash when picking up the ultimate charge there, the Void Coral.
Great play from Mystiques there. Walked down just far enough, barely, to get a redemption clipped, and then walked right back to topside to hold it, right? You saw Yu gets to sidestep slightly back to pick up the redemption healing, and then immediately forces out Wukong's flash as a result. I think Mystique's playing this game very well. We were coordinated incredibly. I'm amazed. I think this is a real big difference from last game, at least in the early game, right? Weaver figured it out eventually, but the early game was rough. Not so this game.
And it's funny to think that Weaver technically has the scaling composition with Bel'Veth, with Rise. Garen's more mid-game. Now he's okay early, but nothing crazy. But you do have Sendy and Mystiques on Lucian Braum, who are just early game monsters, but they're also late game.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we played to that I'm impressed with is putting this Wukong behind, right? Wukong is a jungler that's very good, but needs to get 6 before he can start making aggressive plays. And we saw you invading constantly, stealing Raptors incredibly fast, which means that Porty here, as you can see, still very far behind, just leveled to 9, and you is 11 currently. That's rough, and Weaver knows that that's the best angle they have. You can carry a game, and if Wukong isn't allowed to make aggressive counterplays, they can't do much. Oh, an unfortunate Weaver's Wall done in desperation to try to escape that does not take this Talia anywhere. Another kill over to you.
Yeah, and he's just going to skyrocket this. He already has his Kraken Slayer finished. He has his boots, which make him so hard to kill from the AD damage, because I'll be honest, right now the Talia is not a threat.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Talia, right? I feel a little sad. I'm a Weaver fan, sure, so I'm not too sad, but still, it's always hard to see a player have a game like this where it just doesn't work out, where the enemy team is constantly punishing you and the enemy mid laner is getting the best of you. I mean, Goku had that last game, right? He pulled it back, but seems to be just an inverse here in the mid matchup.
It is unfortunate for Eutectics here, as Dragon's going to spawn up right as Weaver takes this Rift Herald. You gonna get another refresh on the true form, which just does so much for them and could cause, so Weaver actually gonna go ahead and teleport in, gonna be flanking here with ultimates. Yes, the Wukong is here, but that's an instant CC from the side of Batao, and just executed beautifully by Weaver. Once more, Dragon gonna go to Weaver, another extension for you. I love seeing Bel'Veth, but again, this is why you don't give Bel'Veth to you. And that's no execute for you, Misfortune. You're going to try to back, but Braum will run at you.
Yeah.
Being cheeky, trying to be as annoying as possible, doing what they can. Maybe actually might get the execute here. Might have been 8 seconds. Nope. Mystiques with the win.
Well done, Mystiques. I'm very impressed. You know, I will say, you getting Bel'Veth feels a little bit like, for those of you that have been a fan of Weaver State Esports for a long time, feels like the old days of the Urgot, right? Actually, what I'll talk about Jax in a second is, looks like, once again, the sole member of Eutectics doing very well is this Cassante. Just picked up a tower and a solo kill. This champion's still very scary. I don't think he can win the game on his own, at least not in this game state, but I've seen games where he kind of does.
Yeah. It's still, to this day, is one of the reasons why I look at Ryan and go, why is he not nerfed again? He is a full-blown tank that has ridiculous CC, and then he just pushes his arm one-shots you.
The weird part about Cassante, and the part that frustrates me, is the way his Q scales to the point where, like, I understand that he's designed to be a tank that eventually does damage. He's designed to be a CC tank that when he alls out, he's meant to be now essentially like an assassin bruiser. The problem is that he's incentivized to build just the cheapest flat resistance items as much as he can, and that gives him more damage than opponent damage dealers. So yeah, I agree. It's scary, but so far, Weaver seems to have a competition to deal with that, including some very interesting techs. When's the last time you saw Stridebreaker into Ghost Blade on Garen?
I mean, hippity hoppity, I'm no longer on your property.
Yeah, the understanding, I mean, the idea behind it, I totally understand. It's just weird. I haven't seen it in a bit. I like it a lot, especially against, like we mentioned, this Cassante who's fast. Garen also wants to be speedy.
Teleport coming in from the Cassante. Good. I think they were looking to possibly catch something or stop something, but unfortunately, that is a teleport down, means that Batao gonna get some pressure here. Doesn't push it too hard, thinking maybe people are coming. Smart, reads the room, knows that things are happening. But that's a teleport that you could have used to maybe save this bot tower.
Yeah, that's the play that feels the worst in the world. When your team's trying to communicate something, you teleport it to walk back the way you started. Meanwhile, speaking of walking right up to do a fight, Weaver trying to do a lot, and then unfortunately Mystiques does go down. I thought he might have been pushed out of tower range with the size of shove, but still does take that last tower shot. A beautiful flash from Sendy, just barely surviving. Still has to respect both a Talia and an incoming Cassandra who gets walled off, so a shutdown will go over to Misfortune as Sendy had nowhere to go. However, Rise did not rotate. Weaver's macro in this series has been very good, knowing when a fight is already lost and they just need to let it happen. Yu says, however, that the fight is not lost yet. They really want to fight this.
I don't know about that flash from the Wukong. Unfortunately, Goku now will be able to flash out of the bullet time, and that's just another tower that's going to go down. Actually, Weaver State simply saying, we can take some more, let's have some fun. But Tao going to go down here, unfortunately, doing a little bit playing for fun there.
Yeah, I think there's a little overeager from Weaver. They're feeling a bit too strong, maybe, and they're saying, oh, we can't lose. They absolutely can. The enemy team's composition is still very good at skirmishes. They have a lot of good burst damage out of nowhere with Misfortune ult, but overall, they're good at these long, extended AoE fights with the Talia and the Wukong especially. So, a little bit overforcing from Weaver. It's not great. Sorry, my brain just stalled. I see another Serrated Dirk in Garen's inventory. That feels a little odd, but it's probably Collector then, right?
He's just going for do as much damage to Cassante as possible and then let someone else kill them. You gonna see what he can do. The Braum passive coming on, they simply want to end his life, but he goes all out, does a lot of damage, but will not be able to finish it off as Yu just gets a lot of damage reduction. Though Wukong is here, will catch Goku, will be able to cap him down. But Batao, not afraid, simply gonna go in, take down the Talia, doesn't even use the ultimate, but Sendy gonna go ahead and open up with the culling. Mystique's gonna go in here and drift the Rift Herald, was trying to hit Misfortune, will end up getting her in the end, but not the way he wanted to, will end up going down, but it's decent trades for Weaver. Unfortunately, Shelly does not get the charge into the tower.
Yeah, a bit of an optimistic drift, we'll call it, from Mystique. I like the idea, just barely taps the wall so it doesn't end up going anywhere. Then he's saying that they win that. I disagree. Okay, never mind. I'm wrong. Barrier did a little bit of work there, and that was quite nice.
Barrier did a lot of work, and it was 2 items for Sendy, and they are crit, while it is a Lethality Misfortune. I think Lethality Misfortune's okay. It's not my favorite build. I personally prefer, funny enough, I prefer building Axiom Arc first on her into a Collector.
Yeah, so the downside of Lethality Misfortune is it's really good with ultimates and really bad in fights like that where you auto. Your big first passive tap, the love tap, hurts a lot, and then nothing else does.
Yeah. And especially with the upgraded boots coming in for Weaver, just very hard to get through the damage they can get through. The crab does go over to the side of Eutectics there. Unfortunately, not able to quite get what they want. The Demacian Justice coming through for Batao. This Talia having a rough game.
Yeah, unfortunately, Lethality Garen does a lot there. So, hear me out. What if this Serrated Dirk, hypothetically, randomly, is a Serpent's Fang? That'd be pretty cool, as, it looks like a decent fight here in the mid lane, actually. Will end up getting Sendy killed. The downside of Cassante, he does a lot of damage, but he also is still somewhat tanky, so Misfortune is there to finish off that play. Good pick from Eutectics.
Yeah, it was just unfortunate that Tranquilo's block wasn't right where he wanted to, as Goku actually possibly going to get caught out here. Going to do a lot of damage in return, and you now here going to simply finish things off. You will be just hammering away. Goku will still go down to the Misfortune, but unfortunately you now have to deal with a Garen, you have Flash, you have done everything you can, and you still can just hippity-hoppity get off your property. He's going to wait for a dash to simply go over the wall, and it's just simply Belveth.
Yeah, Weaver has a very strong triple threat comp, I would argue, right? Rise is incredible at these setup plays, this preparing damage, and then Garen, Belveth, and Lucian do so much follow-up. Now, of course, very, very late game, Rise becomes a quintuple threat, or quadruple threat, rather. So far, though, a lot of what Goku's doing is realm warping in, causing a lot of chaos, and then enabling the other member of Weaver, whether it's Yu or Sendy or Batao, to come in and clean up.
That is also a mortal reminder onto Sendy. That's Armor Pen and Anti-Heal. So yeah, Cassante's not going to do much more for much longer, and Nami heals aren't going to heal nearly as much as you'd hope they were.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning, Mortal Reminder should always be the take against Cassante, always. When he presses R, he's not that tanky, he doesn't have as much armor, and so as many people will go, oh, he's so unkillable, I need to go LDR. No, Mortal Reminder, by far the better option. His healing on ultimate matters more than the 10% armor pen. That being said, Goku getting chain CC'd by the incredible composition that Eutectics has when it comes to skirmishes like that. They've got a lot of lockdown if they can land it. They still want to chase this because they know that Wukong still has the Cyclone, and they could do some Chaos, but they want to hold it a bit more, especially with Baron spawning in a minute. Maybe saving Wukong Cyclone and trying to just punish a bit more later is better. It is the Serpent's Fang from Batao. Huzzah!
Yeah, funny enough, I was also going to make mention of it last game when I was like, who on Eutectics builds Serpent's Fang against all the shielding that Weaver has? And it was like, Ambessa, but that doesn't feel good.
I like Anabessa, but it can be funky. Either way, happy to see it this game. I'm biased to Serpent's Fang, of course. I think the item difference across the board is pretty much heavily in the favor of Weaver. 2.5 to 3 items on most of their members, and still Bel'Veth, another game where we see a Flame Horizon, 101 CS on Wukong to 219 on you. The highest farm in the game, mind you.
Yeah, Bel'Veth has simply been saying, get out of my jungle whenever they walk into Eutectics jungle. Just gonna go ahead and do some funky things here. Running into some interesting positions here. Gonna do what they can. And unfortunately, the shutdown will go just a little bit too far forward. Sendy and Mystique's now here in a little bit of a pickle as Cassante comes through. But Sendy going to allow for the jump. But the flash will come through to get the kill. Mystique's going to go ahead and use his ultimate to stall for as long as possible. But bot lane Garen.
Yeah, a little bit of a criticism for Weaver. If I suppose they were setting up the Garen, so I guess I understand. But they're playing a bit too much individually now. We praised their coordination earlier in the game, and now coordination has somewhat disappeared. They feel like they can just make these individual picks against the CC-heavy members of Eutectics, and it means that Yu goes down along with Mystique's, and that should be a fairly simple Baron pickup. But with the Tao teleporting in and the Cassante not having their teleport up, maybe Weaver's actually doing pretty well here. The flash over the wall for Batao. Can they do enough? They just barely make it past the seismic shove, and the damage is coming through. Cassante will not make it in time, and Weaver cleans up the fight. What I thought would be a simple Baron disappears from Eutectic's grasp.
Yeah, while you were talking, I was thinking to myself that Goku's alive, and Baron shreds magic resist.
And that's a good point. Goku once again getting a lot of damage before they die and then letting the other members of Weaver clean up. The prophecy, if you will, comes true once again. And that means that Bel'Veth gets to pick up a Baron, a Mystique's buddy. I guess you're stalling for Baron, but you are so dead. You don't have Flash. You have Smite. So I would get the Baron. You know what? Classic Mystique's play. What can I say? A classic Mystique's play.
I feel like at that point he was just like, make sure Cassante doesn't come in to somehow miraculously steal it, do something funky, dumb, I don't know, all the crazy things. As a Black Cleaver finished for you means that this Cassante, yeah, you're going to get shredded. There's true damage, there's slowing, there's now armor shred, and then there's, I'm pretty sure, Yu is pretty close to getting to the Yakata point.
Yeah. A level 16 Bel'Veth with their true form, because they kill a Void monster, right? So they get the additional Void Mites if they push into a wave. You can see some of them spawning around as Weaver's still walking into a pretty scary composition to walk into. Using a decent flank angle, can jump over walls right now because they're in their true form. And they're gonna go for the flank. They're not that tanky, so I think they should still respect it a little bit. Miz caught out with the blue trinket. They need to queue over the wall there. Nice escape. So actually they end up doing a little bit of baiting on their own and forcing the entirety of Eutectics to give up on the control they had. Eutectics has a bigger problem, though. A timer ticking in the bottom side. The minions just destroyed the bottom side inhibitor, and Batao does not care about this Drake. They would give one over to Eutectics, and that's it. And Batao has shown in the previous game and this one, they value the base much more. Again, we were just stalling for time. There's the ultimate misfortune, and they flashed out of it, so really no one takes damage from it. It means just, ultimately, there is the ultimate from the fight as Mystique steals the Drake, not Mystique, sorry, but Yu steals the Drake, and we were going for the fight afterwards, the ultimate into the backline that no one takes from Goku. They know that they can just front to back, and Batao never left the base. That will be game 2, very dominantly over to Weaver with a Chemtech Soul acquired. They only lost one, a single grub. The rest was Weaver's.
They lost a single grub and a top lane tower.
Yeah, I mean, a masterclass of Bel'Veth from Yu, I would say. Obviously, every member of Weaver played incredibly well, but the early game secured from Yu, which secures them their second Nexus in this finals. They're now on match point. One more game can win it for them, and we'll see if they can pull it off in the third game shortly.
And welcome back, everyone, to Weber State Esports, where we are here in Game 3 of our NECC Finals games between Weber State Esports and UHSP Esports, also known as Eutectics.
Yeah, we're coming off of a very dominant game 2. I said that a little bit between game 1 and 2, but man, that was a strong performance off of a signature champion of U's, the Bo5.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those of you who didn't see it, who are just joining us, all you need to know is you got Belveth, the rest is history.
Yeah, so far, we've been doing quite well in this Division 1 West playoffs game, this finals rather. Looks like UHSP, and once again, because they lost last game, they get side selection, deciding now that we want to go red side. I think that makes sense. We're late into fearless.
They want the counter pick at the very end. They want to be able to say, this is what we got. Granted, they had that game 1, and the Ambessa final pick didn't pan out for them the way they wanted it to.
It was one of the better performing champions, but yeah, it wasn't enough, right? So the difference is that when we're this far into fearless, the safe blind picks or all-arounder champions are kind of gone. Things like Cassante, Ambessa, Scion, right? These are all really great top laners, because usually top lanes given last pick. These are all great, safe, utility top laners that are gone, and now you get to go into a little bit of the strange ones, maybe a Mundo, if you will, maybe a Gwen, but all these champions can be punished.
Very much so, as we're going to simply see. I think the first 6 bans are going to be something like Zoe, Bard, LeBlanc, Nico, Olaf, and then
Kaisa.
I'm looking into my crystal ball right now, and I think those are going to be the first 6. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you got a weird crystal ball there. It looks like an analysis paper. You know, it feels like it might be statistics, but who knows? Maybe.
Why are you giving away caster secrets?
You're right. I'm so sorry. I as a fellow caster, I should be keeping our secret intel behind secret doors. All right. So far, obviously, we have things to joke about because you're spot on. So far, the exact same bans as the last 2 games, and we continue onwards. Does UHSP go for the Kaisa ban, or do they want to go for something a little different now?
I'm thinking it's game 3. They're going to keep the same, which is interesting to me because, in my opinion, Sendy hasn't been much of a Kaisa player lately. I'd almost fear his Varus more.
I mean, I think of Sendy and I think of Varus and Hui, right? But I think Kaisa's in a good state right now.
Ziggs.
So. Oh, Ziggs too, yes. I mean, Seraphine, we saw Seraphine from our Indigo JV team the other day. Ooh, and Kiana is open, and they're going to first pick at Weber State saying, hey, we got a strong jungle matchup, or a mid. I think Goku played it once.
It's better in the jungle nowadays, which I always find it so funny when Riot comes like, I brought you a champion that belongs in this lane, and then people are like, I'm going to take it to a different lane.
Yeah, I saw a very smart player. I don't remember who exactly, so I'm sorry, I can't give full credit, but this is not my idea. Talking about one of the scary things about a lot of champions like Kiana and Zed in jungle. They're not designed to be junglers. They're designed to be laners who struggle level 1 and then can be better so they can be punished in lane. By having them be junglers, they're really frustrating to deal with, right? Kiana gets her Q and her W before she's going to fight anybody, and she needs those. We'll see a Sivir locked in from UHSP, and so by just that pick alone, my guess is Eutectics is looking for scaling here, especially with the Lulu being hovered.
So what, I mean, at the end of the day, Weber has a good answer to that in the Kiana, because Kiana simply builds Serpent's Fang like second item, and then Lulu doesn't do anything.
You stole it from me. I was going to mention that, but yeah, you got it. I mean, Sivir probably takes Barrier. She might take Cleanse. I think Cleanse could be better. Yes, she has the Spell Shield, but Kiana can sometimes hit you with the root Q and then hit you with an R, and it's nice to have a Cleanse. Ooh. Kate Lux, maybe we'll see Kate Lux. We could see Kate Morgana, right? Caitlyn and these long-range poke mages are so good against these middle-range AD carries that are fast. You just punish them out. And again, we're in a lane swap meta, so yes, if Lulu can try and run, but if Weaver's willing to do it, the thing about Caitlyn that makes lane swap so difficult is she can stay and demolish towers.
Caitlyn, Senna, double scaling. Caitlyn for the early game. Caitlyn scales really well. She does do very good. But the Senna for security, and this is a complete other side of Mystiques that we haven't seen. We've never seen him on an ADC support.
I am overjoyed, personally. Senna's one of my favorite champions out there, and she's just such a clever, cool, mechanical champion. Doesn't seem like it, right? A lot of her mechanics seem like she's just autoing people. But the way her passive interacts with some items, the way she works with a lot of autos in her E is so cool. I am really ecstatic to see this, and now I kind of want to try Caitlyn Senna at home.
Well, we're going to have to see how things go. Granted, though, they're susceptible to Jarvan. But I do have this question. Is it a good idea to have a champion that creates a lot of man-made terrain when the enemy has a Kiana?
Honestly, because of the Lulu, I will say it's okay. I agree, it's a little scary. But Jarvan Lulu, I mean, this is just Eutectics putting together what I would call a stock standard safe composition, right? And they need that. When they're down this far, they need to not go for a flashy plays like, I don't know, Caitlyn Senna bot lane, pulling something randomly. Jarvan Lulu Sivir is a incredible 3-man that's reliable and will scale very well.
It'll be interesting to see what Weber decides to finish out their comp with and what Eutectics decide to pick in the 4th round, as Annie and Ari going to be banned away. So we're going to start pinching down mid laners here as they have not been picked. So far, that is 4 mid laners banned for all of us here, and it's just going to get lower and lower with an Aurora. I'm wondering what the final one is going to possibly be. Maybe another Cassiopeia ban?
I would like to see Weber ban Victor here. Victor got buffed this patch. His shield on his Q is bigger, which means he can skirmish better and gets through the lane phase. And you can put a gravity field in the Jarvan Cataclysm on top of a Lulu knockup, and that's just a wombo combo and a half. It's also another scaling mage in mid lane, right? A lot of answers for that can be gone. I don't think they have to ban it. I don't know if UHSP plays it, right? But if Eutectics plays Victor, I think that would be really strong here.
It would be very interesting, but they're going to actually ban away a strong blind pick top lane in Renekton. It's going to be very interesting to see why they did that. My thoughts are maybe Weber is hoping that Eutectics doesn't pick the Victor and they'll simply pick it.
That would work well, I would say. Yeah, it's a strong... also, Renekton shield cheers, right? With a stronger shield on Victor, that would be a good thing. We'll see how this plays out, though. I think the Renekton ban ultimately is smart because it prevents UHSP from being able to pick that here as... Oh, I like Vex. Vex also works with Jarvan. Similarly, right? You can't escape the ultimate from Vex as easily inside of a Cataclysm. And she can have a ton of different buttons that just AoE inside of a Cataclysm. So right now, I mentioned Cataclysm a lot because that's really their early game right now, right? Jarvan is their early game playmaking. So you have to find champions that work with him.
Still, at the end of the day, Serpent's Fang.
Yeah, and you know what else is really scary for them now once this is locked? I mean, I can almost guarantee this is locked. So much of Eutectics wants to go in and dive, and the moment Vex and Jarvan go in, they are stuck. And in comes the heroic entrance, the Galio.
And Galio got this buff for, I mean, it was an original part of his kit, got taken away, and then got given back, where he gives his magic damage shield.
Okay, so I fear... Do you think UHSP plays Malphite? Because, yes, Galio can build AP, but this feels like a really good Malphite game. There's so much AD damage with Kiana, Caitlyn, Senna, and Jace, and they're fairly immobile, right? Kiana's mobile. But Caitlyn, Senna, Jace can be locked down. And yeah, unfortunately, it appears I've manifested it. I'm very frightened for Weber. I think the Jace is a nice idea, but I do not like it.
I will say, I think it's still okay, because Jace can do okay in lane, put him behind, and do some things. At the end of the day, though, Senna does a lot of maximum percentage HP damage.
Well, that Malphite's considered usually somewhat of a counter to Jace. Not a hard counter, but it's a good matchup. Jace can build Eclipse and Max E, and the percentage HP damage he has can deal with Malphite in lane. The problem isn't lane, the problem is the late game, and that's all of what Eutectics has. So let's see if they can weather the storm of the early game from Weber with some of the playmaking and get to this insane late game wombo combo where you just press every single ultimate possible.
It will be interesting to see how Eutectics plans out these team fights, because if flashes happen and Malphite ult whiffs, then what do you do?
I don't know. It's rough, right? If Weber can survive the initial burst, I think they have so much scariness. The other benefit they have is they have a lot of denial of... You have a lot of good denial of the engage, right? You have Galio with the Grand Entrance to go on top, but if Galio's the one being caught out, he has a phase rush, so he can escape pretty easily. Caitlyn has traps that he can put down as, looks like, got a little bit of a spectator moment. For those of you who know and have been around the stream for a while, sometimes the spectator view can be a little bit buggy. Looks like it's okay now, but...
You actually getting run at here by the Lulu and the Malphite. Gonna have to possibly flash. Yeah, we'll have to flash because Vex and Jarvan were there. Got the ward. Did they get the ward down? Not sure they got the ward down even to get what they wanted. Unfortunate will cost them their flash early.
I'm manifesting a few too many things this game. I talked about Kiana's really bad issue, and the reason why she's usually better in jungle, she doesn't have to fight anyone level 1. That's her weakness. And then she fought someone level 1. Eutectics showing that they also understand this. I'm worried a couple caster curses from me so far.
Shame. How could you do this? One thing I do want to point out is that Cindy will be reasonably safe. The ghost on Caitlyn is so good, makes it so hard to run away if she wants to chase you down, or to get away will be crazy what they can do, and just some damage that Caitlyn's allowed to pump out.
The early lane pressure should go in the favor of the insanely long AD carries here, but Lulu's sustain is quite annoying. Speaking of Lulu, shout out this cool skin. I really like the Arcane Lulu. The Pix looks awesome with the little jester hat. Big fan of it. Batao should win in this early lane phase, but it's about level 5 when you get 3 points on Q that Malphite tends to be better into Jace, unless the Jace, again, understands what they're doing and starts to max E a bit earlier. It's quite nice.
The lane for Goku is going to be painful, as it always is with Galio. You just kind of get beat up a lot, and then all of a sudden you hit your one item, your, what's it called?
Good root here on the bot side. We'll mention that item name in a second. Yeah, the Hollow Radiance, the magic resist burn damage. It's worth mentioning, this isn't the same Galio that we saw a while back, like last year at Worlds, as much. He doesn't have this free damage by building full tanks, so Galio tends to build a bit more AP than he used to. He builds Hollow Radiance, then Rift Maker, and then like things like Death Cap, Zonias. That's more standard now, so we'll see if Goku goes for that or decides to be tank. I would like to see more AP, because they really need it this game, even though Vex is kind of bullying them out.
I will make mention that I have seen a couple of Galios do some... never mind, I will not mention that, as Batao gonna get ganked here pretty quickly. Gonna possibly have to flash, yes, will, but the double flash follow will be enough. That cheeky little thing you can do with Jarvan, that once you're in your flag and drag, until it ends, you can flash on top of someone and it will still go off and get the knockup. Goku gonna do what he can here to survive, and a quick flash for the electrocute proc here from Vex will lead to Goku dying.
It's really unfortunate to see Weaver go behind early, because I'm of the opinion that if this game goes late, they do not have the better composition. They have some tools they can use, but the onus is on them, right? They need to prove that this composition works, because by default, Eutectics is much more reliable.
Things gonna slow down, kind of gonna go back here. Because Jarvan did work on ganking, though, means that Yu has just been free farming. He's completed all his jungle and will double crab Jarvan.
Yeah, 3 camps in a gank, a classic Jarvan combo, but as you said, right, it's understanding how to play around that matters most in this jungle matchup. Tiana scales very well, can build an easy Serpent's Fang, help out with a lot of the shielding on the enemy composition. Vex gets a shield, Lulu gets a shield, Jarvan gets a shield, Malphite has a passive shield. That's enough for me, and hey, there's a barrier on Sivir, so actually, there's 5 shields in this game.
I mean, you could also make mention that Sivir technically has a spell shield, though Serpent's Fang doesn't help with that.
If it did, it'd be broken. Could you imagine if it denied spell shields? Like, no. I like the item, it's already good. It doesn't need to be better. Actually, that being said, there's a huge fight here on the bottom side. Does Mystiques want to go for the flash play? Yes, they do. They've got a lot of movement speed. They'll get the slow with the Q and a huge play, but the flash forward from the Lulu trying to save the AD carry, it does not work out, and instead, actually, they'll get another kill. The AD carry double in the bottom side doing a lot of work. Unfortunately, Batao dies on the top side.
Yeah, it was actually decently close. You can see there, Malphite was pretty low, but it is going to be rough for Batao. We've seen him come back. He can do really good things, be really strong. And at the end of the day, you could possibly put Jace into the Vex to avoid some of that thing. Malphite, I mean, Galio is still happy to build Magic Resist into a Malphite. Okay, that was a little bit, how do you say it? A little bit ambitious. Vex just simply pops her W, her personal space.
It's a fun idea, especially because I see what Goku was going for, right? The flash to force the Vex W and then the E back to dodge it and then go in. Unfortunately, it wasn't far enough back, and Vex was just patient enough that it still kills. So, a nice idea met with a death, unfortunately. So, we were really on the back foot here, everywhere other than the bottom side of the map. I'd like to see Yu and Goku start playing around it as a result, right? Obviously, Goku's just trying to get the 6. Flashy plays aside, they're really struggling in this mid matchup. Half farm and down 2 kills. The spell shield will block the actual route from the center W, a very rough interaction for Senna for most of the game, but I don't think they mind. Mystiques is just trying to stack passive, right? That's all Senna's about, going for these aggressive plays. Losing them health-wise is fine, they just want the souls.
Yeah, and in fact, it's going to actually cost Sivir her barrier there. forced a barrier. Mystiques will be able to actually heal up with these Qs, and the just absolutely oppressive laning. Jarvan gonna be forced to come down here, but Yu is here as well. Does not know he is on vision. Mystique's gonna just simply gather some souls up, be happy, doing annoying things. As look, they did the swap that I mentioned earlier. Put Batao into the Vex. Vex, though, is roaming down, possibly looking for a gank here.
Incredible call. It looks like Eutectics saying, hey, we need to rematch this. They're probably going to kill Batao again. I'm sorry, Batao, you have walked a little too far. You don't have flash, but there are 3 members of Eutectics walking up here. You will easily die to the jump in from the Malphite, and that is a simple kill.
That is a lot used, and it does allow Goku some breathing room to start scaling up, getting decent. And it just is bot lane city for Weber. That is Weber's win comp right now.
Yep, and it's going pretty well. You've got a couple plates, it looks like, secured, some decent fights. They just need to find an angle to stop dying as much on the top side. It's just, unfortunately, especially against Malphite, Jace has reached the angle where he does not stop dying. He's just going to keep, unfortunately, having to get what resources he can, just stay even, hopefully, at the state he's in. As you going for a bit of a play here. Jarvan does not have 6 yet, so can maybe die here. And there it is, a great play from you. This is what you really needs to find in this early game. Ways to get simple kills. Vex will be caught out here. Has no flash, so the taunt will go through, and you should pick up another kill here, a double, and Weaver has found a second hope.
Yeah, that brutalizer. What is you gonna build the brutalizer into, do you think?
My guess is the same thing Kiana usually builds, which is Profane Hydra, and they should have it. You can see 1,000 gold in inventory, so they're not quite off, but with the amount of gold they have, they're 1,000 gold up on Jarvan so far. Despite the fact the game isn't going too well for Weaver, kind of, they still have 2 very, very fed members, which give them 1,000.7 gold lead already in 8 minutes.
And Batao's really not doing that bad. He is doing great on farm. Yes, he's died 3 times, but he's up on farm. That farm is about half a kill's worth of gold.
Yeah, it looks like they will be pushed off from grubs, so Weaver will have to find another angle. But again, they don't mind that, right? If Mystiques gets the level 6 on Senna, then you have 2 globals to protect any member that's jumped in on, both the Senna shield and the heroic entrance. But also some good damage. Oh, Sendy taking a lot of damage actually themselves. A good heal from Mystiques. They won't get Sendy into the Q range, but Vex doesn't have much more damage. They will, though, with the flash, and that should be a very easy kill. The flash forward from Jarvan as well. A lot of resources expended here in the bot side. A nice route, but it will not be enough. A kill again over to the Vex reset. Weaver should be able to get the grubs as a result of this, but it's still rough.
Malphite gonna come down here to be annoying to you. You will be able to at least get one, smite it, and run away. Will actually start running up towards Jace. Very smart idea here. The Senna ultimate coming through to give the shielding, but the Malphite ult gonna come through. Will he have enough damage? Will go ahead and flash out to continue to get onto him, but Malphite might have put himself into a pickle. Batao trying to find some ways to go. Vex gonna get a kill onto Goku on the other side. But will Weaver be able to capitalize on this? And I don't think they have quite enough damage. The damage not going to be enough. Ascendi doing what he can. Mystique's trying, fighting for his life, fighting a valiant battle. And Malphite just refuses to die. But Sendy is stacked up. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. And that is a triple kill over to Sivir.
Ooh, and there goes everything Weaver had in any resemblance of hope. You can see Goku, I believe, also died here in the bottom side, teleported down, and was just murdered under tower. Yeah, and that's probably okay. I don't like to call things early, but this is a rough game for Weaver now. I don't see the angle anymore. They have to really lock in.
It's going to be really rough, really hard to do much, but they can. It's never over until it actually is, because there are game-breaking ultimates that Kiana can hit.
That's true, and so that means that the playmaking now comes down to you and Goku as a follow-up, right? But again, with how far Goku is behind, it's up to you. It's coming down to you. And that's right, you, local viewer. Support it. No, just kidding. Of course, it's U13 in our jungle. 2-1 so far. Does have that Profane Hydra completed. And doing very well in terms of farm, right? 77 to the 49 of Jarvan. But Jarvan's goal isn't really to farm. It's to set up the plays that they've been already doing.
I will still make mention that Batao's died 4 times, but he's 20 farm up. That is a full kill worth of gold he's gotten back.
It's something. Yeah, you're not wrong. I fear it's not enough. If they can keep the farm up, it'll be okay. Again, if they keep 20 farm up and die again, it just doesn't make much of a difference. We'll see if Batao can do fairly well, but again, just being pretty much dove under tower at this point. Vex in a good position, will get rooted. Sendi's going to get feared from it. We'll get the E to get the roots, essentially the passive. There's the Galley ultimate, denying all of Vex's ability to continue, and Mystique's getting a good threat here, which means that as Jarvan goes in with a massive shield, no one has Serpentine yet, so he does survive this, and a teleport coming down. Once again, another play from Weaver just not working out. Yeah, I'm not sure. Malphite teleporting down means that Jace has a little bit of time for a while, and you may be in a good position, could catch out a Sivir. There it is, a beautiful combo into the root, which means that Sivir will be going down quite easily. Ooh, no, but the barrier. Still no Serpentine to deny that. Wait, a beautiful snipe from Mystiques. There's those Senna mechanics I was hoping to see at some point in this game.
Yeah, and on top of that, Vex does go ahead and teleport top lane to stop the Tau from getting much more. So it's these little victories that Weaver is still getting some gold. It's not what we want, but we're getting what we can.
Yeah, it feels like this game is... I keep liking to make callbacks to previous games in the series. You getting caught out here should go down pretty easily as Vex is in a good position. Can just press the W to fear once. Well, actually, okay, there's W fear, and Jarvan gets a simple pickup with a very large W shield and the Eclipse as well.
Yeah, this Vex is very scary. Weaver will have to do work to get her shut down. I think it is possible. Sendi gets 2 items, and he can start blowing people up.
Yeah, I fear the gold graph, though. I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone in Weaver will be down 500 gold or so. But Tau wants to jump onto the Vex, but there it is, immediately that fear. And Jarvan was properly still tanking tower first, so another death from Batau. The Jace not working out here at all.
It is unfortunate, and then another death going to go here as Malphite just simply won't stay in his lane. Whenever he has his ultimate, he's looking to get these kills down on champions that do not have their flashes. Mystique's fighting for his life, doing what he can, getting absolutely as much done as physically possible on the Senna. I'm afraid he's going to walk a little bit too far forward, but doing what he can.
Yeah, this game is a little bit of a draft difference, much like the last one was, right? I really felt like Weaver's draft was much better in the second game, and it left Eutectics with very little to do. This is almost worse than that here, so we'll see how well it can go. Again, Weaver's obviously up 2-0 in the series, so even going down in this game will be fine for them, but it's a big momentum swing.
That is first tower down for Weaver on to Goku, so that is a lot of gold in his pocket. I think he's going to go ahead and back here and get that Hollowed Radiance, yeah. So he should be able to start doing some things, but this Vex, extremely scary, has a Blighting Jewel in their inventory.
Yeah, I think Batau is not long for this world. Doesn't have the Maw of Malmortia's cooldown up yet, and with Jarvan on the way as well, he can do a lot of damage. It's close, it's just not close enough. Yu has flash and can go for a couple plays here. A beautiful sequence there. If they can get 1 kill, it's a decent shutdown, but they can't get the Vex in time. The shot from Caitlyn already used and did not kill, so Vex escapes with her life, and that's a huge shutdown that she survives with.
Huge shutdown, but that is flashes down that Weaver can possibly punish later in the game.
That's true. It's certainly not bad. Malphite probably kills... Yep, okay, I think... Okay, no, Yu does escape, thankfully. You can see the pickaxe and the single longsword. To me, that screams an item. But I do have item favoritism is Weaver trying to do a little bit of damage here in the mid lane. Again, in these individual fights between bot lanes, Weaver wins. They have a lot longer poke. Caitlyn has a collector to do a lot of burst. It's just not enough. It never feels like it's enough this game. It's always so close.
So close until it just doesn't work out. But Weaver never gives up. Will keep fighting back, clawing back, doing everything they can. And like we mentioned, there is just such a huge shutdown on this Vex that if Weaver gets it, it could turn things around. But Mystique's here getting caught out here as the ultimate coming through from Lulu. Gonna just do so much. Unfortunately for them, Weaver now doing their own little hero squad turning up with Yu coming and doing so much. Unfortunately, that is a Malphite who is going to maybe kill Mystiques. No, will not dive under tower for that. Vex, though, not so sure about that.
And Mystiques has flash, so can avoid a lot of the burst, but has to do it very, very quickly. Yu in a good position here. They could just immediately assassinate the Jarvan. The benefit of Weaver's composition is that these somewhat squishy members can die if there's not a Lulu there, and you can see Lulu in base. So obviously they died, so they couldn't get much, and Batau might be able to go back to the tried and true method that Weaver has done recently, pushing in the side lane. Folks, if you looked at the scoreboard of kills, you would say, oh, surely Weaver's really far behind. They're up 800 gold.
Sivir mistimed the spell shield, so it forced out her barrier.
I am kind of surprised that Weaver's pulling this back, but as you said, there's always an angle, right? I feel like Weaver's draft is a lot harder to play, but that never means it's impossible. Never say never, folks, so Maybe it is on the back of you that Weaver can find the angles, right? I would say it was you assassinating the Jarvan that did make the difference. Currently, they're level 11 to Jarvan's 9. They're higher level than almost anyone else in the game. They're tied highest. That means that you knows that they're kind of in charge of this game. They've picked up the Serpent's Fang, and they've already got more armor pen on the way.
Yeah, and this is not going to be your classic tank Jarvan. This is a squishy, blow-you-up Jarvan. So if they ever catch you, I'm sorry, you're dead.
It's a very good call out here. As once again, when you see these players in the mid lane, you know Weaver wins pretty much all those trades, even without a Serpent Fang at this stage of the game. Yu is hovering around a lot of different areas. Wanted to maybe do an invade, try and walk down, maybe collapse on the Vex, but with all the respect being given, Weaver will instead finally take the first Drake of the game, it looks like. No, it's the second, right? I think there's a glitch on the scoreboard.
I legitimately think this is the first Drake of the game.
Okay, I just could have sworn Eutectics took one earlier, but I suppose, yeah, it's just the first Drake of the game so far. That's a really late Drake, which maybe buys Weaver a lot of time, right? That means they don't have to contest soul fights for a while, or maybe it gives them time to scale, right? And to contesting soul drakes. So again, they're up 1,000 gold right now somehow. I really cannot believe that, but they sure are. And they do a lot of burst damage, forcing out the Lulu R, and that's so much of the defensive tools immediately gone. This is what Weaver wants to find, these angles to poke people out and then go for the plays. You in a great position here. A lot of damage done, and there is the ultimate poking out again. Weaver's poke is really working out. Here comes the Malphite. Does he go in for the play immediately? Fortunately, NECC does not have the time to press the R, but they wanted to try and bait it actually. Maybe just kill someone instead. A nice root once more from Senna. Senna is being the great denier right now so much. Yu is still in the same position they've been in for these last 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, looks like finally the Jarvan will find a play, but the play is not over yet. Malphite has nothing left. They've got to walk away. They've already teleported. They've already used R. Weaver wants to play the long play, but Tao flashing forward to try and kill the Jarvan. Did they get it in time? They do. But now Malphite flashes over the wall to continue the play. They can barely survive almost with their Maw, but it's not enough. This is a pretty big shutdown, I believe, the Malphite has. Although that being said, the shutdown doesn't show on the scoreboard, so it might not exist anymore due to the gold lead Weaver has.
Yeah, and unfortunately now Goku here could be in some trouble. We'll go ahead and just simply phase rush out. But that left two members of Weaver in the mid lane to take another tower. Importantly, Shelly did nothing.
Yeah, the other weird thing about that fight was that Yu wasn't really in it, right? They wanted to try and wait, see if Weaver could slowly make Eutectics walk back and then come over the wall. So that was a fight Weaver mostly won without their strongest member, their jungler. That's a huge deal. They're finding the angles in this fight saying that, hey, Malphite's full tank. He has a hard time killing people. If we can bait that out and then the Gallia ultimate comes in, we will survive it, always.
And the amount of just trolling that Mystiques has done, simply saying, hey, I'm here, come get me, come. The amount of resources that Eutectics put into killing him is really what helped Weaver out. You really, again, wouldn't think that Weaver would be still in this game. They're down 11 kills, but they've taken every single outer turret. They're up in objectives and just doing what they can.
Yu is going for a lot of cheeky plays nowadays. He is baiting in the sideline saying, surely I can punish them eventually. But Eutectics is just not letting that happen. The Eutectics are grouping as 4, sometimes 5, saying, hey, what we need to be doing right now is very, very, very heavily grouping. We need to not be caught out by the insane picks, and then we'll be okay.
But Weaver understands that, so they simply send Batao to the sideline saying, hey, you're not 100%, you're going to die, but you're going to draw someone away, and then we'll kill the people who don't kill you.
Yeah, Batao is now up in items over the Malphite. I think the 1 kill and 1 assist they got were pretty big shutdowns that they're actually probably even in gold, because I imagine Malphite could probably reset and pick stuff up, right? Notice Jace got free boots, doesn't have tier 2 boots, and Malphite isn't finishing at it right now. He's got 2 components, so he's probably still behind a little bit, but it's comparable. And that alone is a miracle. This is a 5-0 and 4 Malphite, and the Jace is somewhat comparable.
Yeah. He's also going to stop him from getting much more down onto this turret. Just slowing down Eutectics is exactly what Batao needs to do. As we were just going to instantly start onto this Atacon with you saying, let's go. They know Malphite has no teleport, and Batao does.
Ooh, and Jarvan just used everything to try and make an initial play, and it doesn't work. An insane amount of defensiveness and damage from Yu means that now Vex goes in, doesn't have enough, gets Serpent Fang applied, then will take a ton of damage, and Yu escapes with a little bit of invisibility. Goku is now tanky enough to fight these long-term fights, cannot die to the Vex, and a beautiful accelerated shock blast from Batao picks up a kill. Vex is not going anywhere, has already used their shield, but has a beautiful Zonias that might not matter due to the Shock Blast. Oh, but a shield from the W. It's back and forth on these kills. Maybe they're happening, maybe they aren't. But once more, Weaver finds a play. I still think Eutectics composition is better, but they're misplaying these fights terribly. They're just going in whenever they can. They're saying, we win this surely, and they do not. Weaver's defensive tools are coming in play, and Malphite forced to use the ultimate away. No one can contest this. Otacon. Folks, we've said it many times before, Otacon, the #1 objective teams throw at. I would say that was a pretty big throw from Eutectics.
Yeah, and importantly, I will also mention, shutdown for Batao. He got the Vex.
Oh, that's a huge deal. Yeah, 3-7-1 now. Picked up 2 kills in that fight with the first Shock Blast and then picking up Vex. Picked up a tier 2 now. And Malphite getting the movement speed from the Q on the minion. Batao, once again, has the acceleration gate and can still probably escape. How far does this Malphite chase? Batao doesn't have flash, so I think he will eventually have a problem. Malphite can once again Q a minion wave. But Senna is here now, so all of that chasing really doesn't do much, eh?
Yeah, and Mystique's wisely warding over the wall, thinking that this Malphite would not run this far forward unless someone was coming to help, spotting him out, making it so the play does not go any further.
Nice alliteration there, my friend. Wisely warding over the wall, that's a fun one. As, unfortunately, Vex is going to be caught out here. That being said, Yu does maybe go down to the burst damage. The follow-up from the Malphite could be enough, but no, once again, Goku saying, hey, I'm not worth much gold. I'm 036 still. I will gladly give my life for my jungler with a 400 gold shutdown.
Also, Goku's not going to go down quickly. He is full tank Birdio right now and will just simply hold on for way too long, allowing Weaver to simply reposition, get the bot lane from the mid lane down around this dragon. Yu does not have their ultimate, so does have to be careful about that. But Sendy is going to farm up the storm. 2-item Sendy. Terrifying.
Malphite still has the ultimate ready to go. Mystique's walking up very bravely. They know that this Drake's very important and they would like to secure it. So Mystique's going to start slowly poking out. Here comes Batao with Accelerated Shock Blast. Doesn't really hit them ever it needs to, but they do absolutely find the Jarvan. There's the Malphite ult in the backline, but no one with the actual damage is here to follow it up. So the defensiveness from Weaver once again comes in, the healing, the shielding. Batao will go down, and actually, Weaver looks like they didn't even get the Drake, so what looks like the start of an incredible fight turns out to be mostly even minus a Drake.
I mean, it's the two members on Weaver that are dying consistently died, while they get shutdowns on Malphite. He died. It went over to Sendy.
Yeah, that's the first time Malphite's died in the game. That's a big deal. You can see gold value right now. Jace up 1,600 gold, mind you. Whoa!
Again, I keep saying it because people underestimate it. Farm matters. That is 30 minions. You have to think about it. The average minion is like 18 gold. So that's like a good kill and a half of extra gold that Patao's gotten, not to mention the shutdowns, the towers.
Yeah, I think those shutdowns are doing most of the work, but you're right, the minion difference matters, right? Patao has known the way to get back into this game and playing masterfully to that win condition. And at this point, Goku can even go more of a tanky build. You see the Rift Maker there. You see armor in his inventory might not go for the more AP, despite the fact that it would be nice. Malphite seems killable this game.
That armor could go into a Zonias.
That would be really nice. I think that'd be a great pickup here. Overall, I think the thing that shocks me the most is that Weaver is ahead on items pretty much everywhere other than the Vex, obviously, because the galleys behind the Vex is very fed. Malphite being caught out here, forced the ultimate away, but Batao is running very aggressively. He doesn't want to show himself just yet. He wants to use the acceleration gate as soon as he can. Now he can go for it, get the movement speed. Remember, Jace does a ton of burst damage, especially with the E that does percent HP, so, the flash forward does the taunt connect, it does, the Q, the auto, the damage is there. Malphite is not tanky enough, folks. Look at that inventory, there's like 300 health, and that's it in that, which means that they can kill him.
You going for the flank, possibly looking to find someone to get that supreme display of talent on display.
Wow, I was a doubter. I'll say it. I was scared about this composition. I thought that Eutectics had these safer plays, and then they didn't play it safe. They decided to instead go in Jarvan plays the second they saw someone, to disrespect Vision in the jungle lot and lose track of you. And as a result, Weaver has really pulled away with the Specs goes in, but doesn't have a lot of beautifully buffered ultimate. The supreme display of talent indeed. You called it out there, and a simple kill, but a big shutdown onto Sendy. It's onto the Jarvan. It's not the best, but it's still alright. Jarvan will go down for it, though, so it's not worth the end. Remember, Senna does a lot, so yes, the Sivir runs forward, is very strong. The moment Senna goes to E, though, you can't auto-attack her. She's gone.
Well, I was going to say, okay, which ADC do you kill?
It's a good way to put it, yeah. Because Senna's got a cleaver and 1 zeal, so you'd think, surely she doesn't have that much crit. Remember, Senna's passive gives her crit every 10 stacks of her soul?
Every 20 stacks is when her
range goes up.
Well, just her passive proc. So she gets range, she gets AD, she gets crit.
I believe her passive is tech. Like there's some of those stats that go up with every stack, but I think it might be her AD that does that, not her crit.
Yeah, her AD goes up as that is a not quite yet dead Lulu, but forced to use the Wild Growth to save herself right before Baron.
Yeah, we were clearly positioning in a way they're saying, hey, we could at least threaten Baron, make them run up to us, because, hey, we don't have to do it if we threaten it. If we get ward down, look at Batao here on the bottom side, right? He's been immaculate at doing this, and unfortunately, for the first time in this game, it seems that Mystiques will actually be punished for the greed in front of a Malphite.
He will indeed, as Batao is simply going to keep pushing. That's what he's been doing this entire series. Now they're all forced to back to deal with it, but Galio is here to protect his top laner. He will try to get... Jarvan will try to come in and be annoying, but some Shock Blast coming in. You, on the other hand, simply going to be on the top side clearing away vision.
I want to give full credit to Mystiques this game. This build is just the cut down tanks build. Be able to kill people as, a road too far from Goku here. Phase Rush might be able to get them out almost. No, okay, they will go down. Cataclysm, Galio has a really hard time escaping without a flash, and they had no flash.
He indeed will go down. Ping's coming down onto the area where Yu is, so will not be able to do anything. They might here go for a Baron, but Sendy gonna get caught. Gonna have to end up going down. Mystiques will also go down. So not great things coming in from Weber as it's... Is this gonna be a base race?
I don't think it should be. Weaver needs to get back to base now. You can see Malphite just trying to be a nuisance. You can see he's even running a Batao trying to stop it, but the teleport in should be enough. No, Malphite has the ultimate. The teleport stopped. They want to go for the base race. 14 seconds on Goku. It's not enough. Yes, they can kill the Malphite, but they don't make it in time to save most of their base. The good news is Eutectics doesn't get everything, which means that actually Weaver correctly says we can stay, then we'll trade an inhibitor for one other. That's not terrible. The best thing Eutectics gets out of it is the teleport. But Malphite still the teleport from Jace, but Malphite still dies.
Yep. More gold going over to the pockets of Weber as this Malphite went from 5-0 to 5-3.
Still scaling, right? Malphite still scales incredibly well. Not picking up much health still, which is why I think Senna's build is so important. I was highlighting it before that long sequence of plays came out. What Senna has right now, what Mystiques has, is a Blood Song, which increases damage done to the target you hit with it. A Cleaver, which applies to the enemy, which means that the way Cleaver works a lot of time on an AD composition is someone builds Cleaver and everyone else builds their own flat pen. So those two stack together and not multiplicatively, right? The enemy loses 30% from Cleaver and you have 30%. You're crazy. As, Malphite coming in with a teleport here. Ultimate's almost off cooldown because that's just how Malphite works. But Weaver should see this. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough here. Vex finds the better angle. Sendy should go down here unless... Oh no! A beautiful use of the trap keeps him alive, but Jarvan goes for the incredible play. The Flash Cataclysm. Vex cannot survive this. Actually can with that Zhonya's. And there Jarvan picks up another kill. Maybe the ultimate comes through. No, it's not enough. And Sendy cannot secure a kill. This might be the end of the game. I respect that Batao is going for the long play, but unfortunately, he is the only member left alive on Weber. And with 5 enemy members left for Eutectics, this will be a game 3 to Eutectics.
Yeah, it was such a... It was rough. Weber fought back. They did what they could, but unfortunately the base race will not go in Weber's favor as towers just go down too quickly. And unfortunately for Weber, the getting caught out there was just not what they needed to have happen, as we will be going to game 4.
Yeah, we'll see you shortly, folks. Stay tuned. Good evening and welcome back, folks, to a fourth game in this NECC Finals Division 1 in the West, where Weber State is taking on UHSP or Eutectics.
Yeah, we are excited to bring you game 4. So we are going to find out together now if it is the Fearless that we think it is, where it's only 3 bans per team. We will find out soon enough. We're not 100% sure. But, looks like we're getting told that no, it is a full-blown best of 5 world-style, complete bans, go for gold.
I am okay with that. That sounds, for those of you that saw World's Finals, what a series. It was so cool to watch some of the insane picks that came out last game, the Smolder mid. Do I think we'll be seeing that in this series? I can't say, but we'll find out, because it's worth mentioning that if there's any team to reverse sweep Weber, it could be UHSP, right? I'm not going to say with anything in confidence, because I believe caster cursing is when you say something with confidence that it'll never happen, and then it does. It could happen, genuinely. I will genuinely say that because they've done it before.
Weber deciding, you know what? We like our red side. We're going to go back, and we're going to take that. So we will make mention that our setup doesn't... we're not set up to show a best of 5 Fearless. So what you're seeing is the Fearless selections from the last 2 games.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, we can remind you all of things that were banned, but I don't think it matters, right? The players know they won't pick anything, so just keep that in mind before you go, why haven't they picked this? It's possible it was the game 1 Fearless if you weren't here for it. But either way, the red side pick from Weber, yeah, we reached the point in the series, folks, where you want to be picking red side. With the amount of picks going on, it's way harder to pick something blind and then be met with a counter. The best example of what happened last game was that Mal fight, right? Being able to see the entire enemy composition and saying, oh, they didn't account for this is so powerful.
Let me see. Bans coming through. I'm going to see a Bard, a LeBlanc, a Nico, a Zoe, a Kaisa, and an Olaf.
Different order this time. LeBlanc bans first. That immediately makes my brain want to fire neurons and say, oh, maybe it's different. I don't think it's different. I just think the order is a little funky. Yep, there it is. So here comes the Kaisa, and then finally the Olaf. But then we have what comes left, which is the picks. Do we see... Well, I could see I think, honestly, if UHSP plays Varus, it'd be a great denial against Weber this game.
Though we have seen Ziggs and Hui played into Varus on the side of Weber. Heck, even Seraphine. Weber's happy to let that go. Of course, they would like it. I think they would do good. But it's going to be a first pick Aatrox. Okay, is it a top lane Aatrox? Or for those of you who don't know, about 8 different junglers got buffed this patch to... Not junglers, top laners got buffed in other roles to be junglers. Aatrox is one of them. He's actually terrifying in the jungle now, as Ahri's going to get picked up for Goku.
Yeah, of all the changes they made, I think Aatrox is the best jungler they buffed. However, Weber State says, hey, we lost a game. Let's go back to something that we know works really well, and that is use Viego.
And Goku's Ahri.
Yeah, these are champions that we've seen. I don't know if we've seen Goku get a pentakill on Ahri, but we have seen you get a Viego pentakill, and Mel is actually really good.
Mel is really good, but she has to choose one or the other. What do you reflect? Leona, though, still very good. I will say, though, Rel hasn't been banned.
It's a good point. I would maybe not hate to see a Rel here. I know... No, actually, Mystiques has played Rel several times before, and they've done very well. So, yeah, I think it would be pretty good here. Because then, honestly, my guess is that we've just matched at this point, right? Ooh, but I like Corki a lot here. I think it's a good early AD carry pick to deal with the Leona. And you can ban out some of the AD carries that want to play with Leona, right? I wouldn't touch Aatrox or junglers. I think it's really risky to try and guess where the Aatrox is going. It's still very adaptable, right? You have counter pick. You can adapt to it on the fly. You already have your jungler, right? So you can figure out if the Aatrox is going top, counter pick it. Just remove the AD carries. And so far, that is what's happening. You see the Poppy removal. We know that Mystiques also plays a very mean and very silly Poppy, and it would be very good against the enemy composition.
Smolder did get banned away, funny enough. So that is a thought that could come through. Maybe a Smolder ADC coming in. Funny enough, I haven't seen Mystiques play it, but it is open. Pantheon support.
Yeah, if you were here yesterday, we saw our support from Indigo, our JV team, play Pantheon support to an incredible effect. It was insane. But Alistar is really nice. I like Alistar a lot.
Okay, I was going to say they feel comfortable with that because Silas is not... Well, I'm not going to say it's not going to be picked because it could be a male ADC.
That's a good point, actually. If they find the Silas angle and then pick an AD jungler... Oh, yep, nope, there it is. Really, really good call. And unfortunately, the red side doesn't quite work out for Weber yet. I still think they have a composition that could deal with a Sylas, sure, but it's really scary. These are some phenomenal ultimates for Sylas to steal so far. All right, well, we'll see what happens. I would, yeah, I was gonna say it's got to be locked in. They're having to think about it, and now they need an AD top laner or just a tank, right? They could go into the tank and let Sylas, Aatrox, Mel be the death ball. Weber's playing on resets right now, right? They've got Viego, Ahri, Corki. They want to find a single target, murder them, and then reset for Ahri and Viego. I am a little frightened. Okay, so Tristana. Oh, it's probably Sylas jungle, right? Or Aatrox jungle. Probably Sylas jungle.
Yeah, probably Sylas jungle, as that is a thing, allows him to avoid some of these more scary matchups. But if Viego finds him in the jungle, he will win that.
Yeah, I've seen the Sylas jungle do a lot, to be honest with you. And if Sylas gets a little ahead, Viego stops winning it, but I don't hate it. Oh, I would love to see this top lane. We haven't seen someone pull this out top lane for a while, but Zeus played it a couple years ago and did so much work. I like it, Batao. You've shown that, yeah, even if you go behind, you can do a lot of work. And again, this is just Weber's Wombo combo. If you can land everything all at once, get an initial reset for Viego and Ahri, you can probably just dash around and win a fight.
And we're about to find out as we are going to load in onto the Rift here shortly.
Once again, I do feel like ultimately Weber is a little bit behind on the draft, and there will be a pause. So bear with us for just a bit, folks. It looks like maybe someone on one of the teams couldn't quite load in. Either way, we'll get back into the game as soon as you know. For now, you can see what the rune pages are and everything. And actually, it is Tristana mid into the Ahri. I do like this. I think Tristana, honestly, nowadays, much more of a better mid laner. Last time we've seen her in professional play, it was only in mid lane to bully some really, really strong matchups.
Yeah, I think that Riot doesn't like her in the mid lane. They definitely are trying to keep her towards the bot lane, but it's really hard because if you make her good in the bot lane, she's also good in the mid lane, and it's hard to manage that.
Yeah, they were fine with her in the mid lane for a little bit, right? But after the year or so she was good, they said, no, please don't. But yeah, as you mentioned, her passive's just too strong. Of course, this is the classic replay thing that you see anytime there's a pause. There's usually a short delay, and just like that, we're back.
We love Riot Spaghetti Code.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of a little bit of Riot Spaghetti nonsense, this Aatrox skin, worth mentioning, is very weird. It's Primordian Aatrox, I believe. His Q2 looks a lot like a Q3, a lot. So it can be very funky sometimes if people expect, if you don't pay attention to what's on the ground. Actually, I guess enemy players don't see it. Yeah, so the Q2 can be very deceptive sometimes.
It should be very intriguing to see as typical matchups here, as just simple find a way, be annoying. It is kind of nice, though, that the Mel is bot lane a little bit, just because it does allow Ahri to be a little bit more aggressive, not have to worry about charms and Orb of Deceptions being reflected back.
You know, you get a buff last patch, which we just recently had a new patch. Ahri received a Foxfire buff, her W. The damage on it, if a single target gets hit by it multiple times, for a while it didn't do much damage. The most recent buff was that, hey, hitting one person with it over and over again actually helps a lot. Worth mentioning that I think in terms of scaling, Weber does outscale a little better. I think Yone and Viego scale unbelievably well, even though most of Eutectics teams scale very similarly, right? The Sylas with Alistar Ultimate is frightening, but I think it's okay.
I think the lockdown is what's really good for Weber, as Goku actually chunked down to half. Tristana will simply just do that. I can go level 1, her rapid fire, her Q, and just bully you out, but didn't. Actually went her E, explosive charge, which is more usual.
Yeah, I mean, you can just play hyper aggressive, like walk out of a bush, land an E, and a couple auto attacks does so much for you. It's a bit of a weird thing because Tristana can actually take any ability depending on the matchup. I've seen my favorite matchup for Tristana mid is Aurelion Soul. If Aurelion Soul starts E to get stacks, the moment he presses anything, or even Qs himself, you just jump in with Rocket Jump and kill him. It's amazing. So Tristana is a very scary mid laner, very, very aggressive, and her whole thing is that she gets pushed, she has aggro, and she can rotate around for basically anything she wants to.
Yeah, that being said, though, Goku doing a really good job of counteracting this, using his spells wisely to trim the minion wave, get it down, and get some damage down onto this Tristana. As Sylas, getting low in his jungle, you can see from the health bars, has to be careful as Batao doing what he does best and being annoying here in the top lane.
You can see a little bit of the animation that Aatrox does specifically in that skin. The reason why the Q2 looks a little funky is because he kind of does a big wind-up all the way around. And normally Aatrox, that's what his Q3 looks like. It's the big sword wind-up around into the slam. So it can be a little confusing. I imagine Weaver's probably prepared for that. Overall, Wave's doing pretty well for Weaver, except for mid lane, which is mostly even.
As another pause coming through, while we're on this pause, we can't show it off, but I make sure to mention it every time he plays it. those of you will notice Mystique's skin on Alistair. Some of you may not know, some of you may know because you've been here long enough, that he has the rarest of all rare skins, Black Alistair. For those of you thinking, oh, what could be so rare about it? It's only available if you played the beta version of League of Legends. That wasn't free. That cost $40 back in 2000. 2010.
And that, folks, that's a veteran player right there. I mean, that's just insane. You know, I'm thinking about this more and more, and I'm realizing that while Sylas stealing Alistair Ultimate is obviously very scary, every single member of Weber has a way to either escape with a dash or push Sylas away. So if worst comes to worst, you've got Corki Valkyrie, the Spirit Rush from Ahri, the Viego Heartbreaker, you've got Yone's Ultimate, Fate's Sealed, yes, and then you've got Headbutt from Alistair. Honestly, it's not bad. Weber has a lot of mobility.
You even have Viego's W, Grasping Maw.
It's a fun one. I like that one. It feels weird. Yeah, I guess in my head I just didn't categorize it as a dash. But yeah, again, a nice, simple dash. I think Weber is a slippery composition, which is nice against an Aatrox, a Sylas, and a Tristana. So.
Yep. Will be interesting to see what happens. We're just waiting on figuring out what is going on with the pause. We can talk about some things here as it is going to be a interesting dark seal on the Sylas. He wants those early kills, probably stack that up, get super fed, start blowing people up.
Yeah, it's fairly standard for Sylas, but it's worth noting because he reset already. He did 3 camps and then recalled on Sylas as the pause will end. Remember, folks, don't get too invested in what's about to happen. We're going to have a couple seconds of a freeze here as per usual in just a moment, but we'll jump right back into the action afterwards. Mid lane match, actually, in the bot side here, going for a bit of a fight as the jump in from Leona, but Valkyrie buffered, which means that maybe the Leona's in trouble. There it is. Just take a moment to breathe as we'll resume the action in a second. Look at this.
Zoom in on the Black Alistair knocking up the Valkyrie Leona as great things going on. We see the passive from Mel stacking on top of Alistair as things resume.
Wonderful, and we jump right back in. You see the heal from Leona used as Mel is forced to use her root to get away, but still Leona extremely low. Wow, that was a bit of a goofy bit to do, but hey, when the game basically enables it for us, I'm down. If Tristana jumps in, he was in a good position, but Tristana hasn't used the rocket jump, so should be able to walk out. That being said, we've been communicating in a way that seems like they think Tristana hasn't. Does you go for the W and the flash? He doesn't have to use the W, the flash rather, he's going to go for it. He needs to be very careful, and you can see with Mystique's in the right position to call out that Sylas is there. You says, okay, I'll respect it, let's go.
Remind me, is Viego's E Morning Mist?
I think so. I actually don't know Viego's E's name. I know it's Q's name, because that's redundant and funny.
For those of you who are curious about what it is literally the name of an item that was the item that teased his release forever ago. Blade of the Ruined King.
Yep, so Viego can build Blade of the Ruined King, have his Q, which just functionally functions exactly the same way Blade does, with one difference, which is the mark on his passive. But yeah, you can build Blade with Blade and then be the Ruined King. Crazy.
It's great stuff. Funny enough, you won't see Mystique's you won't see you usually build it. He prefers the Kraken Slayer.
Which I think is a very good build. I think the Kraken, Titanic Hydra into some more crit is nice, but I like the Blade build. Especially in a competition like this, if actually, hold on, a bit of an aggressive play from the, I thought maybe he could go for the flash Q there. I don't think it would have killed, but it would have done a lot of damage and maybe he could have killed. So I'm happy to see our top laner survive, but the matchup isn't working out quite as well as with how maybe would have wanted. Of course, level 6 is I would really say where hope returns for the Yone.
I think that he just simply survives lane, does well, and it will be great. You have the Viego come in, and Aatrox really doesn't have great escapes. That's where his weakness. Yes, he has his dash, and if he can hit the Infernal Chains to root you, but when you're going in, Infernal Chains don't do a lot, as this Leona might not be long for the world, as the stun will go off, and that is first blood over the Corki. Unfortunately, one of the downsides of Mel bot lane is she's been receiving heavy nerf hammers, because Riot even pointed this out. It's all because of you, Faker. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Right? Anytime Faker plays a champion that performs as well as it does, yeah, people want to do that. Good patience from Goku to try and do exactly that there. If you hold all of your abilities until Tristana jumps in, she actually loses that trade pretty heavily. Goku walking up maybe wants to go for like a flash play or something. Doesn't have a charm, so I don't think it's worth it, but gets a little bit more damage. Oh my gosh, that's actually closer than I thought it would be. Meanwhile, Genki on the top side, a lane gank, it looks like, is Batal trying to get as much damage as he can onto the Aatrox before the Aatrox presses R. Doesn't actually have to. Looks like he'll walk away and save the Woolander. And with Sylas on the way, actually, Weber now needs to be the team that is very, very, very careful. Mystique's coming to cover so maybe they'll be all right. But I think Vital needs to hit 6 before anything happens. I don't know how close he is. There it is. There's that 6. In fact, you smite a minion to guarantee it. With Mystiques being here, maybe they just turn onto the Silas. It's not a terrible idea, and they're going to go for it. The Fate's sealed. Silas flashes over the wall, but now maybe it's actually him. The Aatrox is in trouble. Silas killed a lot, but Vital should be able to get this kill with just the E snapback. Doesn't want to rely on that and guarantees that he kills. Unfortunately, on the bot side, it means that Sendi's on his own is in a lot of trouble. They want to go for the kill actually onto the mill. I think a little over-eager, and it will be punished.
I think at that point he knew he wasn't getting out because Leona could just stick on him. As Mystique's now going to be very annoying, just simply stalling the wave out, making sure that this Aatrox has a rough time, and allowing a lot of things to happen. The Infernal Chains will snap back as he will be hit with the 3rd cute knockup, just being annoying, being a very bad Minotaur boy.
He's staying, though, and I wonder, with a flash, if this Aatrox might be in trouble in a couple seconds. Vital coming back topside, Aatrox pushing it in. Oh boy, I think Mystiques has clearly said that, hey, you know what? You're fine, Botson. You got Valkyrie, you got Flash now. Let's punish this Aatrox, and here we go. Folks, here it is. Unfortunately, Aatrox knows, so maybe Mystiques actually will end up dying here, which would be pretty bad for Weaver, but no, okay, he should be able to get away. Oh, even the headbutt, that kind of pushes him out. The Flash out means that Aatrox will escape. I think the headbutt was a little bit too much, but at least you get Aatrox's Flash.
Yeah, and that just secures the lane for Yone. Very strong, very good position for Vital as it forces the Aatrox out. Doesn't have teleport, so the fruit in the river actually gonna save this Aatrox from backing and having to run back in this horrendous position. Very good timing for Aatrox.
Folks, we've got an Infernal Trick currently on the Rift. Oh, Goku getting flashed toward, but that means Tristana is actually going to go down. The play did not work. She thought the Buster Shot would be enough to finish it off, and now Leona's in a lot of trouble with no flash up, and Yu gets the reset on his ultimate. You can see even Goku trying to get a little bit more damage, but you can't get the kill onto the a little bit too tanky Leona. Still, a good start to the game for Weeba. They just got the feats of strength with that kill. Sorry, feats of warfare.
Yeah, feats of warfare. Very strong. Enjoy the feats of warfare while you can, folks. Come January 1st, Season 16, they are gone, and so is Atacon.
And then only the mid laners get the benefits from those, essentially. But as Vital getting a lot of damage out, as Mystiques wants to go in and just finish off a really good play. They know that the Aatrox has no flash, and with Grubs being up, it's a great rotation over. I don't think, even despite the fact that the entirety of Eutectics roamed up that needed to, they cannot fight these Grubs.
And I will also say one thing about Yu's build. I was 100% wrong. That's going to be a first item Trinity Force.
I like that a ton, especially in the tankier bruiser composition that has been put together, right? There's not really any tank other than Leona that Viego has to cut through. You want to be able to kill these bruisers. You're not trying to assassinate a squishy. So I like the adaptation as it's not taking a lot of damage to Goku, showing that they are kind of winning this matchup now. They've been very patient, and the Ari buffs feel very good into this matchup. The Foxfire doing a lot every time I see Goku use it on Tristana.
Yeah, it's also great for the wave clear, what he's using it for. We haven't seen the Silas do too much in the way of getting what he wants. He does now have his level 6. I can't remember. It's
Hijack.
Hijack. That's what I wanted to say. Abscond and Apprehend, but that's his E.
Abscond and Abduct is his E. Yes, that is very, very fun abilities names. Like Q is, I believe, Petricite Blast.
That's his passive.
That is his passive, right. His W is
Kingslayer.
Thank you. It was coming to me, but you got it first. And then, obviously, they're the fun ability names. Silas is just a really cool champion, and it's cool to see him be very strong in the jungle right now. I've been seeing a couple of very notable players playing it. For those of you that know this at home, Pedro actually on a bit of a jungle climb right now in solo queue and playing mostly Lee Sin and Silas. The Silas looks real strong, so late game comes around. I think the Silas could do enough, but for now, quite far behind.
Yeah. Going to be a little bit rough for him. He's going to have a lot to climb as Weber gets the Void Grubs. That's so big for Sendy. He can really start to take towers once he gets onto them. Same with the Tau on this Yone, as that's a solo kill. Unfortunately, the charm does hit. I mean, yeah, it was a solo kill. You was just in the neighborhood saying, oh, well, if you need me, you need me, but obviously you don't. You're a independent foxwoman.
Ladies and gentlemen, look at the kill spread on Weber. Every member pulling their weight here. 101, 101, 101, 110, 102. Very impressed with Weber's ability to just stay calm in a lot of these scary plays and win their lane matchups, right? Overall, Goku doing so much work in this mid lane. Clearly, the Ari was a great pick for him, and we know it was, but still, happy to see it.
All I'm going to say is, gosh dang it, Sendy, you had to ruin it.
It's all right. They were bound to die eventually, and like you said, right, in that play, they kind of knew they were already dead, so they just let it happen. Then you're going to get Cannon here, just try and back up a bit. Overall, on the spot side, both Laters trading. So I think that benefits Mel more so. Mel scales very well. As Vital being cut out here needs to Q and ROA, I say. He's got Q3, he needs to do both. Doesn't want to use the R, so instead it will just be Silas taking away the Fate Seal. Can maybe Mystiques go for a cheeky play? He wants to headbutt and then polarize him into tower, maybe into Batau's ultimate, but they won't go for it. However, use in the area. So the longer this play goes for, the better it will be, especially because the Aatrox has no World Ender, forced to dash away.
Yeah, I think Batau was extremely wise saying I can just simply get my third Q dash away. I don't need to ult because my support is on the way. If they keep going, it will be very bad for them. As in the mid lane, they're going in onto Goku. He will go down, unfortunately, as the Stolen Fate Seal will be used to get the kill. He did not have his rush or his flash.
Yeah, Silas also went for the flash as well, right? So Goku tried to flash away. It was not enough. I saw both flashes used on the icons on the side, of course. So, hey, pretty good play as now the dive coming out onto the Aatrox. They know he has no World Ender, so he doesn't have that insane amount of healing. They will get the kill, get a nice reset to the Diego, exactly how they want to play their composition. The stronger that you get, the better Weber feels.
Heck, the stronger you and Batau gets, because this isn't one of those games where, oh, Batau's just kind of doing a little bit of supporting. No, Batau is playing Yone.
Yeah, the entirety, like, Weber had this in the first game as well, or was it the second game, where they have, like, a triple threat comp, right? Corki doesn't actually no, Corki is really good, right? Goku can be a bit of a setup champion, as Penny going for the flash forward, knows he has enough damage, the moment the reflect is gone, just needs to get vision, auto a couple more times, did go for the Valkyrie flash, and Sir Zipri managed to barely escape, but has nowhere to go at this point. In fact, Mystiques go pick it up, probably could have waited for the mid laner to show up, but still, at least getting it is good.
No, he couldn't wait, because Cow.
I mean, for what it's worth, I really like seeing Mystiques get kills on Weber. I think this is a support that uses that gold well. Early itemization with think of the redemptions in some of those earlier games in the Bel'Veth game, right? Where he walks down on a top lane to just barely get within redemption range, snipe Bel'Veth with a redemption on the corner, and then walk back up and hold wave. I really am impressed with Mystiques having gold, so works for me.
I will also mention, unfortunately for this Leona, they will be seen here in this ward as Batau will have the Unbound Soul, which is the E that he has to get him in. Saw the Leona coming in. Smartly, though, before finishing his Blade of the Ruin King, bought an Executioner's Calling.
Yeah, but the Soul Unbound's a long cooldown at the stage of the game, and unfortunately, there are a lot of players of Eutectics on the way up to punish out what's going on. Unfortunately, yeah, there's the Alistar topside as well, along with the Silas. Silas can dive so easily. All he has to do is pick up the Alistar ultimate, and it's going to be a bit rough. So it looks like Weber understanding that, hey, they just need to make the play on the opposite side of the map, pick up the Drake, and then go for a dive. Batau trying to keep away from crashing easily, and a teleport coming up top. They really don't want to let this play happen. There's the stolen ultimate, but Silas still takes a lot even with it. It's the stage of the game where he doesn't have a lot, and the play backfires heavily for Eutectics, and now the counterplay on the opposite side of the map comes through. Mel needs to try and reflect it, but a great play from you, simply Wing past her to scare her away.
Yeah, and it gets Tristana's teleport out as they don't want to add insult to injury here. And when did this happen where Yone gets the support instead of the Karki?
Really, like minute 5, I felt like. Mystiques has decided that, hey, if we can shut down this Aatrox, he's probably one of the scarier members of the composition. So let's make sure Batau is fed. We can get kills for you as well. And Batau maybe in a little bit of danger here, but is barely able to walk out of the chain.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know how to counteract Aatrox W, walk at a diagonal. It's almost kind of like a Riptide. Walk to the side.
Yeah, because like you can just walk straight to the side, but Aatrox is prepared for that, and his Q can hit you, right? So as you said, diagonal is the best way to go. Tristana jumps back in. We'll get the reset in the jump. Can't really jump again, but still a lot of damage onto Mystiques, who did not have their heal, their flash, or their ultimate. So it's permanent damage until they recall.
They're going to recall here really quick, be happy, get things. And once again, you is just deciding to simply say, what's yours is mine to Porty, unfortunately. You do not have a jungle. It is used. You are getting out farmed. You are simply giving your jungle over to him.
And the result of that is a lot of the wards that get left as you or Mystiques walk away, right? You can see the vision lit up on the side of Eutectics is pretty rough. You can see that they have vision enough to catch out where pretty much every member is going, which means Goku can peel away, be safe, and then see the vision there. Needs to be careful about the Aatrox, but again, could R out if worse comes to worse, but instead the diagonal walking can get a bunch of chain damages. Unfortunately, a shutdown going through. Porty uses the hijack and maybe the flash. No, okay, no flash use. So unfortunately, Leona being caught out, forced to flash away. Porty uses their last use of the Spirit Rush to dash once more, and surprisingly, Batau tried to take a fight against a Mel, and it did not work out. The shield from the Spirit, the item doing a lot of work there. Unfortunately, the flash and the World Ender used. Yu tries to turn it around, dodges the solar flare barely, and the fight somewhat fizzles here in the top side as members of Weber will walk away.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Corky.
Yeah, teleport comes out to try and maybe do something about it, but Mel doesn't have a lot, so there's a chance that maybe if Sendy wanted to, he could go for a play. It's a bit tough too, right, especially when the damage from the Q hits. And it looks like Batal teleport bot as well, saying, hey, no one's bot side now. We know they're all top, and oh, Mystique's feeling it. I think this works. They know he has no flash and no ultimate, so you can just tank the tower with an insanely tanky Alistar and then be perfectly fine to walk away. Sendy roamed up here just to make sure the play goes through. Mel's on the way too, so they need to respect it, but overall, we were very happy with how this game is going. 4,000 gold up.
Very strong, very good. Mel doing what she can with her Seraph's Embrace, trying to pepper them with Qs, but you said it before, Batal is left in the bot lane. This is a full tower to himself, and if he's not responded to soon, he's going to get chunk damage onto the tier 2, not to mention he's just going to go take Silas's Krugs.
Batal's finals today have been really the story of macro plays, right? In game 3, they almost went a little too far, and the Jace wasn't in fights ever. But they're certainly very good as, oh my gosh, forcing the smite out of the Sylas, and now Sylas take the Fate Sealed, but he probably has to use here just to escape, right? There it is. E-Snapback does not do enough damage to kill him. Matau escapes to safety, but still, forcing Sylas to take the Oni ultimate now means that it's a long cooldown before he can take it again.
Unfortunately, Tristana, that's all she wrote, as you're going to get Headbutt pulverized into a Orb of Deception, and Goku, once again, it's really been kind of funny between Goku and Eutectics mid laner. It's been Goku kind of gets wailed on, and then Goku wails on, and then Goku gets wailed on. Now it's Goku's turn to start wailing again.
Has it, I don't know if this is 100% correct, but has it always been the player that gets the counter pick that ends up doing worse? I feel like in the top, because the Galio was an answer into the enemy mid laner, the Vex, and they lost. In the second game, it was an answer into the Rise, and and this game, Ahri was picked first, and the Tristana was an answer. It feels like the counter matchups mid don't seem to be working. Blind pick, folks.
Would you say the counter matchups are counterintuitive?
That's a good way to put it. Speaking of some weird plays going on, some weird things, very heavy force from Eutectics on the bottom side. They know their way back into the game is to force in sides, get a pick, and do something. But Batal respects it, just kind of hovering around the jungle, knowing he's got to be careful. We'll walk back up now that multiple members of Weber have come to back him up. So, feels safe, and Mystique's causing a little bit of chaos once more. Forcing actually out the World Ender. I don't think the Aatrox knows how far away the rest of the member Weavers are, but Mystique's has a lot of CC, so it doesn't matter how far away they are. It's still worthwhile to pop it. The World Ender ends now, and unfortunately, Weaver will absolutely pick up a nice and easy kill. Sendy going up to 2.
Yeah, it's kind of like kicking someone while they're already down. This Aatrox is already having a hard time, and then Cal.
Yeah, that's an insane play from Cow. Oh my gosh, Goku does so much damage. He's got to run away now as the Spirit Rush comes out from Silas. Silas can very easily kill here. A good charm from Goku. He's got to flash away now. Yeah, he probably just has to immediately get out here. Wants to try and get the Q. It does do so successfully, but must run away now as here comes the Silas.
Redemption here gonna heal up Goku as in the mid lane. The Mel and the Leona getting jumped on. Mel has to flash out. But on the Silas coming in here will do a lot of damage on Descendi, but not quite enough. Unfortunately, Silas flashes into the red pit, right into the waiting arms of Goku, as Mel gonna try to do some cheeky solar binding. Will not do enough. In the bot side, Batal.
Once again, the macro play from Batal is incredible as Corgi does end up going down, Sendy going a little too far, and Leona just tanky enough to survive. Goku wants to do what they can, but a good blue trinket again. I feel like we saw a lot of good blue trinkets in that fight. A teleport behind from the Tristana, trying to maybe pick out Goku as they leave. Could probably just turn it into a fight for you instead. I think that would be better, but no, they're looking to find Goku.
Goku not knowing this is here, so possibly gonna get caught here as Tristana being very patient. Goku does have the ultimate back up though. The Malignance and the Horizon Focus doing so much work with the cooldown. It was a great idea. Tristana simply didn't get there in time and now might be in trouble.
Ionian Boots of Lucidity as well, adding to that too, right? This is a full ability haste. Does you want to go for the flash play? It's not a bad idea, but the teleport coming in. Oh, he does. He wanted to smite WQ, but the W ran out as he flashed, and now there's 3 teleports coming in, 2 and soon to be 3 members. I think you gets the kill, but it's not worth it, right? Because there's the Otacon. Oh, that's not worth it at all. You feel a little bit too aggressive there. I feel like that's the plays that have made Weber lose games recently. I don't like the idea, but if Weber can at least figure it out, calm down, and make it work, it won't be the worst. Unfortunately, it means that Batal is also getting cut out. I don't like what Weber's doing here. They're trying to walk in 3v4, but again, it's just not worth it. The Reflect of the Charm will get the support killed and Mel's enough damage. Ladies and gentlemen, so many teams throw around Otacon, and the gold completely swings after an insanely greedy play from Weber.
Yep, my thoughts were he saw the teleport. I swear you could have seen the teleport coming in. You should simply grasping Ma out to try to get away, and the Tristana gonna kill Sendy, and yeah, it's an Atacon throw.
An ace for nothing. Weber goes up in such a good position and just greeds and dies. If this game is lost, it is entirely Weber's fault. They've got to focus up, not lose too much more. There's a Drake spawning in 3 minutes. There's a Baron spawning in 3. Calm down, breathe for a bit, farm for a while, and then find plays again, because the gold just heavily swung.
Yeah, it was just you being a little bit too overzealous. He saw teleports coming in, decided not to do much about it.
Yeah, you can see it in the gold graph here. The difference between Sendy and Sir Zipri is unbelievable. 5,000 gold, the difference between them, a little bit more, 5,500-ish. So this Mel has to die, but she's so slippery. Long range, has a reflect to stop most of Weber's reliable CC. It's a scary game for Weber now, folks. 3.5 items and a Medjai, so 4.5.
Yeah, and that Medjai's is at 10 stack, meaning she gets the extra movement speed. Weber has to find a way onto her. They've been very close several times, just not doing quite enough. Eventually, Sendy will be able to start doing a lot more. It's just that Corki does need a little bit more time. He needs 3 items before he really starts being threatening.
I mean, the 2 is nice, right? It helps him poke out of it. But again, there's the reflect. So now Weber needs to try and find an angle where reflect is down, right? It's the only chance they have. It's just so tough. Unironically, weirdly enough, I feel like Serpent's Fang is not terrible here. I know it's not great. I'm raving on it too much. But with the Seraph's Embrace shielding and the Locket of Iron Solari, it's not terrible.
I will say, Weber also can do a really good 1-3-1. Put Yone and Ari in the side lanes, and then just let you, Sendy, and Mystiques be in the mid lane.
Well, I think your description 1-3-1 is exactly correct, especially because really, the wave does crash in, and I think they're catching Leona here. There goes the charm. Yu is doing a lot of damage. Will they get it? Yes, a nice and easy pickup, 1:23 before Drake, so Leona will be back up alive for that, but still, that's a lot of vision and positioning that Eutectics loses.
Yeah, very, very much not what they want to do, as you going to be able to go about doing things and pressure in the top lane, as Vitao simply going to keep going, doing what he knows is best, pushing in waves, being annoying, taking away a Gromp here, taking away a Wolf there, all the good stuff.
I like the Mako play this game a lot. I think Vitao is an incredible side laner on Yone, and as just a good side laner as a player as well, so side laning plays, love him, keep him up, especially because, like you mentioned, the 1-3-1, right? The 1-3-1 in this competition works really well because you can leave Corki in the mid lane, Vitao top, as you said, and Goku bot, and then the duo of jungle support can go whichever 3 they want, right? They get to decide where the pressure is, and then leave the other 2 to be perfectly safe in a side lane.
Yeah, it goes back to what you mentioned earlier. Weber is slippery. They're able to get out. They're able to avoid.
Yeah, and that's a lot of that because this Mel is not mobile, but she's got a lot of range. You have to dodge all of her stuff before she completely murders you. Level 15 right now, the highest level in the game by a decent amount. Goku's close, and the enemy top and mid are also doing fairly well. It's the Mel show right now, folks. I think that's pretty evident.
And once again, it's exactly why Riot Games has said, yeah, we're nerfing her.
You can see Weber kind of recall. No, okay, they decided to cancel the recall, sticking around. But Vitao pushing the side lane and Mystique's there too. I think Weber's saying that they want to give this Drake, they just want to fake pressure it, right? Make Eutectics think that they want to go for it, instead get a lot in the side lane. The Eutectics knows that they can just burst it down. They don't have to worry about enemy teams walking in. Can you catch anyone on the way out? That would be pretty nice. There's a teleport coming in. Can you stop it? You can stop it. There's the stop, and R's out immediately. Weber making the full play, saying, we don't think we win fights anymore, but the side lane sounds incredible.
Sendy, though, here in a little trouble in the mid lane, will be able to get out the ultimate from Mel, not enough to kill him, as this side lane pressure is going to be very dangerous for Eutectics. They don't have a really good answer to it.
Yeah, it's the side laning, man. It's so good. Tristana's a fine side laner. She's a better team fighter. Aatrox is a fine side laner. Again, a better team fighter. Silas would be a good side laner, but he's the jungler. So that's not really working out, as Mystique's used the ultimate, trying to maybe get a catch onto Mel, but he used the ultimate right before the root hit, as, unfortunately, Google pushes up too far. When 2 members show up to fight, yeah, it is a bit scary. Vitao forced the ultimate out. The Silas could Spirit Rush over the wall, but it's not worth it. Maybe Corki catching out the Leona. Are they going for it? Yes, they are. It's Leona's incredibly low, and he flashes over the wall into Yu's clutches. Another reset for Yu.
Yeah, really good. More and more gold into you is great. The Tau now at 2.5 items is a threat, as actually, yeah, it's going to be a possible kill onto the Silas, as he will get out, as Weaver needs to be careful. A flash forward from the Mel being very dangerous, but the World Ender coming in. Mystique's going to go down instantly, but that is Mel's ultimate down. Does not have it to keep going. But this Aatrox is becoming unleashed. Will go ahead and keep catching up as the resets happening. The pings down onto Baron now coming in from Eutectics, as the jungler is dead.
You know, the misuse of Weaver's dashes is always scary, because then you saw 3-4 flashes came out in that fight to chase them. Weeber has to be very respectful. And now having no flashes means that long term it's pretty good for Weeber, but they have to be so careful. Goku wanting to go for the play, but will get rooted by Mel immediately, and the charm is reflected. Oh, they just wait. Maybe Yone doing a lot though. Tao finding a good angle, but unfortunately all Leona has to do is just sit back and wait for them to return. Yes, Silas goes down, but they don't need a smite to finish. This Baron, this Mel is way too much damage.
Yeah, that is the Zonia's down from Mel. So there is a possibility of things happening. Ascendi, gonna be annoying, gonna stop things. The solar binding not gonna happen, as Weaver deciding they can kind of chase, as Batao going for the cutoff.
That was in a good angle. They get Mel to flex, but again, Mystique is very squishy. I think this is a little too soon. Batao wanted to go for Blade, but it's just early, and Mel with their ult being back up means they can't stop anything. Ascendi still wants to keep people around, but cannot find the angle. And folks, a long play once again goes in the favor of Eutectics. Weaver really having this game slip away from them.
Yeah, they just need to be able to find a way to keep this side lane pressure, find a way to stay in and get what they can done.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mel is now 7,000 gold ahead. The rest of them, the Weaver, are doing fairly well against their opponents. It's just the Mel show. This Mel is so unbelievably fed. I believe 20 stacks of Medjais now. Actually, it might be 24 or 23 now, because I believe they got the assist on Mystiques as well, too. So with the Drake spawning in 2 minutes, Weaver has to hold this Baron push and then try and find a way to fight Drake. Yeah, 24 stacks of Medjais. There it is.
Yeah, so killing this Mel is going to be really, really important. But her Zonia's is almost back up. That's the hard thing, is that she's so safe, so strong.
And level 17 as well. Weaver needs to find time to scale, pick up some experience and farm again. They've had a hard time farming recently. Their numbers have not gone up, whereas Mel is 278, constantly picking up about every piece of farm she can. I would be interested to see if she'd sell anything for death cap, but I don't think she needs to, right? Medjais functions essentially as a Rabadon's death cap.
Ari getting a really good charm on Tristana. Lots of damage coming down, but Goku has to be careful. Is in a position where if they get hit, they will go down very quickly. You here to be careful and help. Leona gonna get chunked out a little bit as well. Oh, does you decide to go for it? We'll go ahead and just get the binding, the reflect out, as that's an instant flash charm, but it will be met with a return. But in the top side, Weaver doing what they can to try to get things. Sendi in the mid lane, being as annoying as possible. Weaver doing actually a really good job of pushing and pulling and getting things out of Eutectics.
I like the idea. They almost catch the Mel because you get the reflect, and then Goku goes in for the kill. It just doesn't quite connect because of the Zonias, right? This Mel is so safe now. She's building just to be safe. But it's still, I like the idea, right? You're still forcing things out. It just costs you a flash on Goku, and that feels rough. They don't even get the tower topside, which is what they were going for the play, right? They wanted to get the Mel, but they were also stalling for time. Neither worked out. They get a decent amount from Mel, but Mel's having flash up soon anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is Ari who uses her flash, which isn't the best, but is very safe with her ultimate.
Batao is still hovering topside. He will not leave this top lane until a play works. Neither will Mystiques. You talked about it, the 1-3-1. Weaver said, well, it's kind of a 2-2-1 now, but it's what we want to do. The side lane play is where we're at.
Yeah, Eutectics simply deathballing around this Mel. As the reflect is down, some damage going on to Sendi, you thinking, but unfortunately, the Silas never is far away from Mel. Makes it hard, but possibly now. The Hextech Dragon, though, just going down to Tristana alone.
Yeah, I mean, there's no pressure for Eutectics to send anyone else. Tristana has plenty of damage to the point in the game. Has the IE and another Cloak of Crit. I can't remember the name for some reason. My brain has stalled.
Cloak of Agility.
Thank you. It's giving her 90% crit currently, so or 95 maybe, but I believe it's 90. So point is, she crits constantly and forever and always. Maybe Mel up too far. She used her thing, going to go for the flash play but again, I'm pretty sure she still has the Zonias. No, she doesn't just yet. They found the shutdown. There's the Medjai stack's gone. And just like that, Weaver in a phenomenal position. They can chase down the Silas. They're going to go for it. Silas forced to flash away, but can they find any more? They're just going to take every kill they can, and if they can turn this into a game one, it would be a huge deal. They have pressure over the mid wave. 44 seconds on Mel because she was fully high leveled, and we're 30 minutes into the game. But Tao pushing topside. Weaver has one angle to demolish the map. Maybe ends the game. Can they find it? Can they take this final? Not yet, but a lot of damage being done by Batao. They want to try and do as much as they can, but they almost go down before they can get anything. Trying to punish the Tristana. Maybe, they forced the flash out with the redemption snipe. But it seems like Batao died very, very late there. Maybe a red buff burn? Not quite sure what killed him. It might have been a bomb attached to him. Still, Weaver explode the base. It's 17 seconds on the strongest member of Eutectics, the Mel. They get an inhibitor tower and an inhibitor on the sideline.
Yeah, Weaver finding exactly what they want. As you can see it right now, Mel was probably just seconds away from getting her flash up. Has it now, But now doesn't save you when you died, 45 seconds ago.
Well, I think we'll see an adaptation from Mel at this point. She's been reflecting quirky rockets because she can. It gets good damage. She now knows that's not allowed, right? If that happens, Goku comes in, Yu comes in. They're just not going to let Mel reflect quirky rockets for fun. And if she does, it's going to be a punishment. As Tristana getting punished here for pushing up in the side lane, she's going to try and jump out, but we know she has no flash. However, the Redemption coming out doing a lot of healing, and Tristana does enough to survive basically on her own, and that could be a complete and immediate swing of the game now in favor of Eutectics. Baron up in 57, and Yu and Goku will barely respawn at that exact moment. You can see Batal going for a teleport bot side, trying to get a lot. But Weaver needs to be too respectful. I don't like Batal going for side lane play when stuff like this happens. It's so risky.
Though, a Flash getting pushed out from the Aatrox, doing decent things, but Tristana could go for a base race here with the help of Mystiques. Sorry, not Mystiques, the Mel. My brain can't function right now, as once again, I don't know how much I like this. Corki and Alistair can do what they can. The Aatrox gonna go ahead and back out and get away, but I actually don't know how bad this is because there's not empowered recalls, but Tao possibly going to be able to just kill. Yeah, might just kill Aatrox. He does not have his ultimate. Will go ahead and get this inhibitor. Can then run possibly mid. Needs to actually just try to get out. Unfortunately, will probably die. Has to flash away. I was hoping maybe...
Mel's being caught in the top side. Hold on, we'll have to fully stop that. And they do get her. Oh, the back was delayed so much. And Weaver turns a play that could have been bad into an incredible play. Yes, eventually Batao dies, but Mel being dead is a huge deal and Baron is alive. Whoa, this is insane.
And Mistakes, once again, playing devil's advocate, being annoying. And this could be a Baron just going over Weaver. What do you do? How do you stop it? You have two very strong members that are gone, and Mystique's just going to be annoying as possible. A Constellation Dragon maybe, but it's up in a minute 40. The Scuttle Crab they just took is actually going to fall before the Dragon's even up.
This game is so tense. It's clear that Weaver really wants to take the series now, secure their first place in our NECC Division 1 West playoffs. But Eutectics is not willing to give it. This is so scary. At this point, Batao has Infinity Edge, which means he's like overcapped on crit, which of course is what you're supposed to do on the brothers. But man, him winning in the side lane completely now is a really, really big deal. He got a second inhibitor, and it looks like a third pause.
Third time's the charm, folks. We're going to keep going until it's over. And oh boy, what a doozy of a games these have been. Just so back and forth. We were so caught up on what Batao was doing, and if it was right, that we didn't see that beautiful play onto the Mel. Just the delayed backs, I think because of Sendy just hitting rockets, and Mel probably not reflecting them, respecting it. Probably missed a solar binding and then just went in. So we're going to have eventually the little spectator delay here soon, but to be expected. We'll keep going and see how things turn out. Boy, what a series!
Yeah, we've reached the point in the game where you can see Mel has sold her Magi for Death Cap, and she is done getting stronger. She's got a potion, she's got Death Cap. Gold on her is functionally useless. Every member of Weaver can continue to get stronger, and that's a huge deal. We talked about how Eutectic scaling is primarily Mel, and obviously Tristana scales very well. But Weaver outscales. You imagine 100% crit Viego, this Ari build being finished, and the Yone just diving in. Every single member of Weaver could theoretically one-shot you, and I think they might. It's still tough.
But this is where Weaver's composition shines. The split. They have Baron. They have pressure. Eutectics has to balance perfectly. The super minions are just so frustrating. And they're forced to stay mid in case someone just walk and take the inhibitor.
Tristana's getting really scary though. At this point I would say Tristana almost scarier than the Mel. Almost. Again, Mel's had some nerfs recently, so I think previous patch Mel would have been fully good, but this current patch, as of a couple days ago, Mel's a little weaker. So we'll see if the difference can be made, if Weaver can buy time and just, like, Tristana's GA is a problem. Like, I would say that's the biggest problem they have right now. But the other problem that Eutectics has is Batao in the side lane. You can see it right here. Because they have no inhibitors other than their mid lane, they have to respect so aggressively these side lane pushes, and Weaver can just stall out like they have and go to pick up a third Drake. Their first third Drake of the game, and anyone's third Drake.
Yeah, getting on Soul Point is so big because what happens is there's a minute now between Baron spawning again and Soul.
That's a huge deal, right? I mean, maybe Weaver could even trade like one Drake for another Baron that can end the game, or vice versa if they really value the Hextech Soul, which I think is really nice. The slows on Hextech against this enemy competition are annoying. They're not that fast, but they're fast enough that on top of the dashes Weaver has, a Hextech Soul would be infuriating for Mel to move around.
Yeah, very hard, very frustrating. And final item for Yone. What do you think it is? I'm thinking Death's Dance?
I'd like to see a GA. I think there's a lot of burst. Like, if you survive a Mel ultimate because of a GA, that's pretty nice. But I don't know. I think he's got options. Currently, he's got the red potion, the elixir of wrath in his inventory. It's festive, just like the map is. The map is. Sorry, not the math. But overall, yeah, I would think either GA or you could go Sterox. No, you can't because he has Immortal Shield Bow. Okay, so yeah, I mean GA Death Dance probably.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what he decides to do.
Or Bloodthirster. I don't hate Bloodthirster on top of the Blade of the Rune King, right? That much lifesteal can be really silly. But again, we'll have to see as that game develops. We were trying to lay traps out right now. They're really trying to make someone in Eutectics think, oh, look, our split pushers alone. But that's just not true. It hasn't been true the entire game, and it isn't true now.
Yeah, never true, never will be. Importantly, though, like you mentioned earlier, Eutectics really isn't getting much stronger than they already are on their main people. Weaver just keeps pushing waves, getting gold, and getting stronger.
Yeah, Tristana's almost full build. You can see the top jungle. Oh, Goku could be in a lot of trouble here. Thankfully, he does escape. You can see the damage coming through. It's rough. I think Goku needs a Zonia's now, much like we were talking about Batal maybe needing just a stasis item, his being GA. Stasis is really nice against the enemy competition. If you can survive a Tristana bomb because of it, a Mel ultimate, that's nice. It's really useful.
A lot of good things. Yes, it's not as great in the side lane where they'll just dogpile on you, but in a team fight, that's where it's important.
Yep, Seeker's Arm Guard completed for Goku now. This game is so tense. We've reached the point where obviously no fights have happened since Baron was taken. Because both teams are too afraid to have something that happens and ends the game, right? If a play goes wrong, that's the fourth game. And if you're Eutectics, that's the series. And if you're Weeper, you're under threat of being reverse swept. The pressure is high. The nerves could be getting to some of these players, but if I had to guess, both of these teams, they've made it this far, they'll be doing okay.
Inhibitors have respawned for Eutectics, which is huge for them, but it's also a weak point that they have. Weber can push and pull, say, I'm going to take an inhibitor if you don't respond to me, and if they do incorrectly, Weber wins on the other side of the map.
Yeah, again, Weber's whole thing right now is trying to set traps, but actually it's kind of Eutectics thing as well. It's just trap after trap after trap. Both members of Weber State in the bot lane are sitting around saying like, oh, come to bot lane. But Zeke's been sitting in this bush for, I believe, a minute and a half. And they're going to stay because, again, if it works, it would be game determinative. All of these long, careful plays that each team is going for, the sitting in bushes they keep doing over and over, is genuinely game determinative.
Yeah, you actually going to see that there's 3 people here, so that will help Weber know they're kind of around here, kind of being annoying. Tristana will finally check that bush, only to find a purple ward.
Oh, I mean, this is tense. My heart rate, I don't know if I could go higher right now, if I can be honest with you. It is very, very scary. I'm rooting for Weber, of course, but it's been a good game, so let's just see how it plays out, folks. Don't expect anything. Both teams in very scary positions.
Sendy is full build. The only thing he can upgrade is his boots.
That's actually, boots would be nice. He doesn't have his heal item, but obviously the Trinity Force getting random amounts of AD is nice. Yeah, I mean, the piece of strength could be the determiner, right? When both teams reach full build, that's when those tier 3 boots can make a difference. But with Baron slithering up the rift as we speak, ladies and gentlemen, I believe the next play of the game will be there. Does Weaver want to try and burst this down? They're waiting for it. They think they can. I don't know about this play, but they've clearly decided on it. So here we go, folks. Can Weber State one-shot a Baron?
I'm not sure they can. Sendy gonna see that there is a Leona around, and it could be devastating. Remember, the magic resist shred that Baron gives. A redemption going to be on here, as they will keep it locked as it does reset. Pings coming down onto mid lane from Eutectics saying, do we take it? Do we go? We don't have vision. It's a 5-man fight coming in here, as a lot of damage coming down. Turrets going down. Oh boy, it's stressful.
It's the push and pull. Legitimately a 50-50. The game could come down to a 50-50. Badal's gonna go in, try and do as much damage again. Silence is almost dead, but Mel gets so much damage in return. You can get the reset and then the fight can be playable, but no, you dies in time. And the Baron goes over to Eutectics. A play from Weber works out. The red does not work out, rather, and unfortunately that looks like it's going to be the game, folks. The flash from Mel, and that should be it. The teleport there, and Weber decided to try in the 50-50 and fail. Ladies and gentlemen, your game 4 winners should be Eutectics. Let's see if they can close it.
It is just crazy, the back and forth that happened. Unfortunately, Mel able to survive. The Fate Seal not doing what it needs to, as Patau gonna do so much damage, but Tristana gonna be able to get a return. Though, Sendy doing a lot. getting so much done. Has not used the Valkyrie yet. Unfortunately, won't be able to. And Yu is up in 18 seconds. I just don't think he can stop the onslaught.
No, there's pings coming on to Drake from Eutectics. They're making the call that can't end. They don't want to risk it. They're going to instead settle for a third Hextech Drake. And the game is not over, folks. We're still in it. Cindy had flash there. I feel like it might have been worse to try and flash, but decides they want to save it for a potential later play. I can't handle this. My heart is thumping, and we could still go to a 5th game.
It has been a crazy amount of just back and forth. Holy...
Ooh. They're making a plan to the Mel. They're trying to chase her down. But Yu goes to the play and gets rooted. It's not worth it. But maybe it could be. Goku goes in. They know she has no reflect, but she still has Zonia's. I don't think it's worth it. They're trying to stall for time. If you can get the W, he can get the kill. He got the reset. They're on to Mel. This could be soul for Weaver if they get it. What looks like it's a scary play because of the kills that Weaver got later means that they're up first on the map, and they're actually going to pick up a Hextech Soul. What a swing!
Yep, well, here's the thing. They have to do it quick. Yes, Viego is here. They will be able to do it quick. Now with Goku coming in, it is going to be there. Unfortunately, they cannot run quick enough, and that is Soul for Weaver. So once again, here's what we have. Baron in 4, Elder in 6.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not done yet, and we're not even close. My guess is we're going to see the same situation the teams were in before, right? They're too afraid to have a game be thrown, so they need to tough it out. But that being said, a teleport bot side from who? Batao, it looks like he pushed out the side lane, want to get a bit more. Mystique doesn't have flash, so they can't do much. And again, it's just back to farming. Both teams pretty much full builds, pretty much full experience. The supports are obviously still behind, and they will be for a long part of this game. But everyone else reaching the inevitable conclusion of League of Legends. The only thing missing is a Nexus explosion.
At this point, I think Batao teleported because he simply wanted to get enough gold to finish that GA. That would have possibly swung the fight, but I'm actually looking at this going, this might not be a GA as Goku has to be careful here. Gets caught, will have to Spirit Rush out, but it's on a low cooldown. It's not going to be too bad.
Tao still doesn't have enough gold to finish that, and that's crazy. He's 375 farm, mind you, and he did not pick up an item out of base. Okay, but he took it the Hex Gate immediately to walls. Here it comes. We'll find out what this item is momentarily. No, not even yet. Oh, he's just going to Hex Gate down to the bottom side of the map. Goku's got to be careful for a bit. Has really low cooldown and ultimate and no flash. So, again, ultimate will be up soon, but you can see Weaver making an insane call here. I like this a lot. They sent everyone down bot side, and while Eutectics pushes top at an exposed inhibitor, you'll notice they're noticing, hey, no one in Weaver is seen. We're pretty sure they're down bot.
Yep, and Weaver, knowing this, doing this push and pull, waiting in a bush. Oh no, Silas, this could be very dangerous. Does Silas walk up? He will sweeper, will find him. Unfortunately, that is an Alistair, and you cannot pop the ult in time. That will be Silas down. Weaver finds the pick they've been dying for the last 4 minutes.
Oh no, Yu goes in. I think this is a terrible idea. No, they overforce it. They find an incredible play, and then their greed. It's just too much. Goku's back, though. Maybe they can do it. They got a lot out, but no, the kill onto Mystique. That being said, there's a lot of damage, but Tristana is doing too much more. And oh no, Weaver, you keep going with these plays. You get a great pick, and then you overforce. It's just not enough. I really don't understand some of these plays, but I understand the pressure is immense. So they're going to have to run away. They're giving it their best. Again, these are the two members that were last time that had to hold the game. Maybe they can do it again.
I think that they're able to. Minion waves are not in favor of Eutectics. That is the one bright side of Weaver's comp so far, is that they've been able to constantly push in the waves, get them to where they need to be, and it takes time for Eutectics to push in.
Yeah, Eutectics is just going to get the last amount of free gold on the map, right? And with Baron coming up real soon and Elder short to follow, whichever team gets Baron will be able to very easily transition it into an Elder. The game-determinative fight could be in 1 minute, folks. Strap in, get some water, go to the bathroom right now if you need to, because you don't have much more time.
Death's Dance now has been completed for Batao, so he did not go for the Guardian Angel. I think it's wise because he knows that the delayed damage will allow him to possibly lifesteal up enough. Importantly, the Immortal Shield Bow coming back up for you is going to be important, will help him survive a little bit, has a little bit of armor himself. Oh boy, this is... I can't breathe.
Let's take a second to breathe, right? Let's bring down the energy for just a minute and talk about what's going on. You can see pretty much every cooldown is going to be back up. We're seeing Weber try and pump gold into Goku. It seems like they want a lot of gold, but Cindy could be caught here and will get one shot if he's not careful. They can maybe one shot the Tristana. If they could get the GA, that's really good. They just need to leave now. If you could get caught here, this would be really bad. Oh boy, it looks like Weber will escape with a GA obtained and a... Well, the only ultimate used in exchange was Goku's. That's a really good trade. Folks, once again, as always, the ever-present side lane pusher is back at it again.
I think that Eutectics has been wise to put the Tristana into Batao, because Batao, if he misses the third Q knockup, he does lose.
Yep. Alright, well, right now, the only thing I would put heavily in Weber's favor, genuinely, is the Hextech Soul. If you could die here, that would be so bad for Weber. He does manage to get out, but it's real risky. He's trying to scare to Zipri. Maybe they could get it. They can push that. The charm lands. They got it. That's the reset for you. That should do it, folks. I think that's it. They land the root onto the Metal Skull, and another reset comes through. And Batao gets so much work on the side lane. He actually managed to get Silas's ultimate. Actually, Silas ultimate, but he got the Zonias, and that's a huge cooldown. You can see Silas even ended up building the Knight's Vow. That's not how Silas Jungle wants to play. He wants to be a carry, and the carry potential is over. Yu still has everything. He has his Heartbreaker up. He didn't actually use the real one. He's got Flash. I'm afraid this game is about to close, and Weber could be the champions. There it is. They burst down the Tristana with no GA, and that's it. Weber State did it. They're going to be your NECC Division 1 West Playoffs champions. They will take first.
You having a little bit of fun there before the Nexus will implode. Batao doing so much work there, getting the Tristana and the Silas. It looked so scary there when you was messing around in that bush. It was terrifying, but in the end, Weber State will take the series 3-1.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for an insane series. That game 4 had me sweating. 46 minutes long of a game, back and forth. I thought Weber might not have it, but they managed to clutch up when it matters most. Batao's side lane plays, Goku's picks, Mystique's chaos, it all comes together. And Weber State are your NECC champions. Congratulations, and of course, a good series to Eutectics.
Thank you so much, and have a wonderful evening.